Alrighty, friends. Hello, hello. Welcome back here to another live. We are doing the official coverage of Hurricane Lala, getting ready to make that closest approach here to Hawaii. So we're going to go ahead and hop our way over here into it. We're not going to waste any time here, as we do have ourselves definitely some pretty heavy impacts going on here at the current moment. I am going to go ahead and bring up our radar view here first of all. That's kind of what I want to look at here first, just to kind of show y'all where everything is at here currently. We are seeing the beast of the storm itself. You can see right here. Here's the Hawaii radar, PHWA, and you can see that the system is definitely getting ever so closer to the beautiful state here of Hawaii. We actually do have it appears to be a flash flood warning in effect here. Let's see here, between basically saying rainfall rates of 1 to 2.5 inches per hour. See, flash flooding is ongoing or expected to begin shortly, which, yeah, you guys have been dealing with a lot of, flooding and already stuff like that already starting here, considering that we have a lot of rain falling out there. What's up, Logan? Good to see ya. And a hurricane warning for the mountain. They got tornadoes, power outages, landslides, mudslide. Yeah, that is going to be a pretty big concern here. With the flooding, there's going to be that mudslide concern and stuff like that as well. What's up, ST? And what's up, Pineapple? Good to see ya. Hope everyone's doing well out there. But yeah, we have ourselves, like I said, some coverage we're going to be doing here for a while. Like I mentioned, it is right now a Category 1 storm here. I'm going to go ahead and bring up the latest cone here from the National Hurricane Center as far as that goes. Let's go ahead and hop on over here. I'm going to go ahead and turn on the forecast cone. So yeah, it is currently a Category 1 storm. We are currently sustaining 75 mile per hour winds. We are gusting upwards of 90 miles per hour here as of right now. So we are watching that here right now. And of course, now we work our way to the northwest. Like I said, we're going to continue working our way over here to the northwest. The system is expected to weaken a little bit here, pretty much here for right around 8 o'clock p.m. today for you guys. The system will be on the other side of the Big Island, in which, it will be downgraded to a tropical storm, but still definitely coming down pretty good at this point. But like I said, it is a Category 1 storm right now, sustaining 75, gusting up to 90 miles per hour here. So I do want to go ahead and hop right on into the forecast here. Now, as far as everything goes, they really haven't changed much here with the the official rainfall forecast and everything like that. We do have the potential for isolated amounts up to 25 inches of rain here for the Big Island here of Hawaii, in which we are seeing that potential up to 2 foot of rainfall across those areas here. Across the dark red, we have that 16 to 20 inch margin. Across the red, we have that 12 to 16 inch, orange 8 to 12, which also includes bits of like eastern Maui included there too. We also do have that 8 to 12 inch margin here as well. So we are definitely expecting a lot of flooding here. Across the dark yellow, we're seeing 6 to 8 inches. Across the yellow, 4 to 6. Of course, the dark green, 2 to 4. And, of course, the light green here, 1 to 2. So, anyways, let's see. Lala's now a hurricane? Yes, it is. Absolutely. Let's see here. Pizza, I'm not sure if I could do that right now. Not sure if I could. Anyways, what's up, Kate? Good to see you, friend. Hope you're doing well. What's up, Susie? But yeah, so like I mentioned, that is what we are here seeing at the current moment. Now, as far as surges go, we still have that 1 to 3 foot surging out there, expected from the system. And right now, we probably are already starting to see some pretty heavy surges across Hawaii here as a whole. 1 to 3 foot of surge expected for the Big Island here. So that's that water level being 1 to 3 foot above normal than it typically would be, because we're seeing a lot of those strong winds pushing inland, against the Big Island here of Hawaii. Now, for the remainder of the islands here, you can see that we are expecting about 1 to 2 foot of surges out here, so we are definitely seeing a decent potential for surges out here as well. Thankfully for this particular system, the surges is relatively on the lower scale here, a little bit more milder, but like we mentioned, still is going to be a concern here. Not to mention with all that rain we just talked about here, there is definitely going to be a lot of impacts here with flooding, saltwater flooding. Some of that water pushing inland, of course, with the the freshwater flooding here too. So, hopping on over here into the current estimated wind field. Now, I'll tell you what, we're actually going to hop our way over here to the interactive one, because we can see it a little bit better if we do it this way. So if we do hop on over here, you can see where those estimated hurricane force winds are. You can see here with that little red area. Now, the hurricane force winds right now are still just off the coast of Hawaii. Now, the good news is that at this point, from what we believe, the system is not going to make that direct landfall over the big island of Hawaii. It was pretty close, and there was a lot of guidance that supported it. It is just barely going to be scraping by the south side. But like I mentioned before, yesterday, even if it did do the scenario, there is still going to be some nasty impacts, in which you guys are already feeling it pretty good, as far as from what we can tell here. For the other islands, we still haven't really felt a whole lot out of the system quite yet here. I mean, those estimated tropical storm force winds here are in this yellow blob. And you can see that, that is not yet for those other areas here, for the remainder of the islands. Just the big island really is starting to feel, like I said, the system here overall. So hurricane warnings in effect for the big island here of Hawaii. Of course, like we mentioned, the rest of Hawaii, we do have those tropical storm warnings here in effect. So that is currently what we are dealing here with this system. But yeah, hopping on over here into the radar imagery, as you can see, this is what the system looks like here right now. We are definitely getting some very, very strong winds and of course heavy rain falling across a lot of Hawaii here. If we switch on over here out there by like Honolulu, we're actually going to pull up the radar nearest to Honolulu here. We're going to take a look at this radar. You can see that it's still pretty dry as far as, consistent rainfall. It does look like we do have a bit of showers and storms popping off here right now, but, consistent rainfall is still not really happening yet, but we're already starting to feel some of those bands and stuff like that here from this system. What's up, Christy? Good to see you, friend. Hope you're doing well. Let's see here. Potato says, honestly, I'm really curious on how the structures in Hawaii will handle the flood risk. Yeah, the flooding is going to be by far the biggest concern with this system. That is what I am mostly concerned about because, shoot, yeah, we are expecting a lot of flooding to occur. Like I mentioned, up to 25 inches of rainfall being possible there. So that's what we're expecting here. That's what the latest WPC forecast still has. Nothing's really changed since yesterday's update we did, or last night's update. Like I said, we are seeing up to 25 inches of rainfall, which that, to put in perspective, is over 2 foot. Not to mention, a lot of that water is going to be running down the mountains, towards those coastal areas, in which that's just going to allow for a lot of flooding potential. Mudslides is going to be a big problem. Like I mentioned, I really hope that you guys are prepared for this system. We had a couple of days to obviously prepare for this system, and I hope that everybody is ready and good to go. Like I said, my prayers are going to be out there for you guys, and I'm going to do my best to do a lot of coverage here for you guys today. I might break the coverage up into 2 different streams. I might do some coverage here for a couple of hours here, and then of course I might hop back in later on tonight and do some more coverages. So I'm gonna try to probably do that. It might be a little bit easier on me if I do it that way instead of just doing one long 8-hour stream or whatever. We'll just see how it goes. And we'll just take it a little bit at a time. But yeah, so like I said, if you're just tuning in, it is indeed a hurricane. It is officially now a Category 1 hurricane. We are seeing 75 sustained winds. So that's a constant wind of 75 there towards the core of the storm. And we are seeing some gusts upwards to 90 miles per hour here as of right now. So we are definitely seeing some very, very strong winds here out of this system. If we do bring back up our main radar, you can definitely see where the center of that storm is here. And from the way that it looks here, it does look like the system's core, the center of that storm is just going to remain to the south of the big island here, as you can see. So the big island is up here. This system is expected to be just relatively south, but like we mentioned, regardless, you guys are already starting to feel some pretty heavy impacts here, in which, we are still possibly going to be seeing, we're likely going to be seeing some of those hurricane force conditions, still for a lot of the lower portion of the big island here overall. Regardless, heavy flooding, that is by far the biggest concern, like we had mentioned here, is going to be that flooding concern here overall. So, anyway, so that is what we are seeing. I tell you what we're going to do now. I am going to go ahead and bring up our radar here. We're going to pull velocity because I'm kind of curious to see, according to this, this is just about 200 feet up or so. Apparently, we're estimating winds between 60 and maybe 70 miles per hour here. This is about 200 feet up, remember. Now, this is also an estimate. This is just a, just a rough estimate of what the winds could be doing over here. But, from what we've already been reporting, there's already definitely quite a bit of winds out there. I am going to actually load up the observations here from weather stations. I'm curious to see what they are suggesting here right now. We're going to go ahead and load both of those up here. Apparently, this says we're gusting up to 99 miles per hour here on this particular station. Let's see here. Wind gusts, yeah, showing 99 miles per hour. I don't know if I buy that, though, to be honest with you, because, I mean, yesterday they were already showing some pretty crazy stuff. I am going to bring up our ASOS stations, though, which we do have some ASOS stations. This one is reporting 24 gusts out there by high-low. And let's see here. We'll go and pull this up here. Yeah, pressure is definitely going down pretty fast. Right now, it looks like we're at 1,011 millibars. As far as the current part of the system, the current pressure of the system, we are down to 988 millibars. So we're officially down into the 980 mark here. Once again, sustaining 75. Now, the system actually slowed down a bit here. We are now moving northwest at 8 miles per hour here. So the system is not moving as fast as it was yesterday, which is not really a good thing, considering the fact that it's going to be sitting over Hawaii for a longer period of time. It's going to allow for, of course, those heavy flooding concerns and stuff like that there. So, but anyways, I'll tell you what, so hopping back over here, this is once again the wind history with the system. The yellow that you see is where we estimated those tropical storm force winds to be in, and you can see that, those tropical storm force winds are already occurring for a majority of the big island here of Hawaii. Like we mentioned, everybody else here in Hawaii still really hasn't started feeling the worst of it yet. The system is, of course, getting closer and closer. So we're definitely going to have to monitor this here as, of course, it continues past the big island and everything like that. So I tell you what we're going to do now. I am going to hop you guys over here into the spaghetti models because I'm curious to see kind of where they stand here with the latest guidance. Now, this is from earlier. We're going to have to reload this here. But I am wanting to see kind of where the models do stand here with everything. So let's hop to the latest runs here, which we can go ahead and do now. So yeah, according to the latest runs, you can see that at this point, the direct landfall in Hawaii is unlikely, which is good. But like we mentioned, once again, just because that's not happening does not mean that there isn't any concern here with the system. Like I said, you guys are already feeling it, and we're not at our closest approach yet. The storm is still just off the coast here of Hawaii, so it is going to be just barely passing to the south here, the big island overall. And you can see that, obviously the other islands here in Hawaii, you guys are not going to be feeling the direct landfall with this system. You're going to be feeling the system overall. There is going to be a lot of effects out here too, but the core is expected to remain relatively just south of those islands. And of course, the system is going to continue working westward. It is actually expected to pick up in strength here, as we pass away from Hawaii, because we are going to be seeing, not much wind shear in the environment, a lot of moisture with the system, which the system does have a lot of moisture with it, in addition to those warm sea surface temperatures here overall. So, anyways, let's see here. What's up, Angelina? Good to see you, friend. Hopefully you are doing well. Good to see you. I don't know what I did with my phone. I think it's in my pocket. Okay, I want to make sure I have this out here. But yeah, so good to see you, friend. Hopefully you're doing well. What's up, Carrot? Saying, hey, Andrew, is making a sharp turn north currently. If that continues out of the cone, landfall is definitely possible. Let's hop back to radar real quickly. Let's kind of see where this thing is at here currently. So you can see, here's the latest radar view of what we got going on. If we do work our way down in time here with the latest radar scan, you can see, to me, it looks like it's still relatively going northwest. So what we can do is I'm going to pull this on the latest frame here. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go and kind of see where it's at. So we'll go ahead and put the hurricane marker here, which, that's really big. Let's try this again here. Let's go ahead and make this hurricane marker there. So that's where it's at now. Actually, this is probably not going to work too well. I'll tell you what we're going to do instead. We're just going to put we'll just put a circle right here, maybe. Just a tiny little circle. So that's where the eye, or the center of the storm is right now. And if we go back in time, you can kind of see that the center was right in here. So it looks like it is still working relatively west-northwestward. At this point, I do think that it's relatively unlikely for the system making that direct landfall in the big island. But like I mentioned, though, even where we're at now, we're still probably going to be feeling those hurricane force conditions. Don't get me wrong. This is still going to be very, very close to the island, which is still going to be very nasty for you all. But the way that it looks like it's just still continuing relatively west-northwest. So here's the bottom of the big island of Hawaii here, which obviously we have hurricane warnings in effect out there. In which, I think that's just going to continue pushing past, in my opinion. So, we'll see what happens. Like I said, I'm here for the long ride. We're going to be here, and we're going to be doing some coverage here for you guys for probably quite a while today. We did 3.5 hours of coverage last night, just kind of giving you guys an update on everything here. So, we're going to continue to, like I said, stream probably for quite a bit here Now, I'll tell you what we're going to end up doing. We are going to go ahead and pull up the Mesoscale Floater 2 long wave IR. So this is the latest satellite imagery here with this particular system. I mean, you can see that once again, it is still off the coast here. The center is right around it here. And I mean, it is going to get closer. It is going to get closer. So we are going to be feeling those impacts getting stronger and stronger, unfortunately. And but at this point, I mean, yes, there is no clear defined eye within the system. We were talking about that here yesterday, as like if we were going to be seeing an eye with the system. It doesn't look like we will be, at least not yet, because the system is expected to strengthen as it goes further west here of Hawaii. So maybe farther down in time it could, but we are expecting the system to probably start to weaken a little bit here. I mean, once again, right now it is a Category 1 storm sustaining 75 miles per hour, but as it's starting to interact with the big island of Hawaii, given it's a big mountain, the system's not going to like that very much. And geography actually plays a huge role as far as how storms kind of handle of course, the land and everything like that. So, but yeah, we do have that current convection. I tell you what, we're also going to bring up our, let's go and do this real quick. We're actually going to go ahead and bring up our geocolor. So this is kind of showing the visible satellite, kind of what it looks like from directly if you're in space and if you're looking directly down at that storm here. So as far as the geocolor goes, I mean, we're definitely still seeing some pretty good convection here with that system. Let's see here if it decides it wants to load. It's being a little bit slow here. Let's see, Carrot says not sharp, but like, I think it's mainly moving relatively west-northwest, though, Carrot. I mean, I didn't really see much of a northern pull on that. I think it's still mainly moving westward. I don't think that the center is going to be going directly over the island. I mean, the eye wall, or where the eye wall would be, quote-unquote, I think that could definitely swipe the southern side of the island, of course. I think that is still pretty possible. But yeah, I mean, look at this. There's the latest satellite imagery. You can see this morning, right around sunrise, you can see all of those little bubbles you see. So that's where we have that deep convection overall. So definitely seeing quite a bit here, of convection here with that system. And that's where you're really going to feel some of those strong winds, is definitely where those heavier convective bands are. But yeah, you can see that there was a little bit of clearing a little bit ago. This morning, it looks like here, or for you guys this morning. For me, it was in the afternoon here. But yeah, it looks like we had a little bit of clearing, but that sense has been overtaken by that cloud cover here and all. But it is definitely coming up pretty good here. You can see that a lot of the remainder of the other islands here are relatively, still relatively overcast here with those outer bands that are working its way through that region there. But the big stuff is still yet to come here for a lot of people. So, like I mentioned, guys, y'all please be careful out there. And like I mentioned, we're going to be here live for quite a while today for you guys, and we're going to make sure that y'all are staying on top of this system. Because I mean it's definitely quite the beast here of a storm. So, hopping back over here into the back into the rainfall forecast here. This is from the WPC. This is for the Weather Prediction Center overall. We are seeing isolated amounts up to 25 inches of rainfall here. You can see for the eastern side of the big island of Hawaii, we do have isolated amounts up to 25 inches, which that is over 2 foot of flooding potential, or 2 foot of rain potential here, which is going to be leading to a big flooding concern. And that includes a lot of the eastern sides of the big island of Hawaii. So once again, for the dark red areas, that is where we are seeing 16 to 20 inches of rain. For the normal bright red here, we are seeing 12 to 16 inches. For the orange, 8 to 12. Now, this also includes bits of like eastern Maui, as we did talk about here, possibly upwards of 8 to 12 inches. I mean, even up to a foot out there, just east, on the eastern side of Maui here. So that right there is going to be a pretty big concern too, even for Maui. We are seeing 6 to 8 in the darker yellow area here, 4 to 6 across the yellow. And you can see that a lot of the other islands here, including like Honolulu, is included there with, this 4 to 6 inch margin. Now, they did mention isolated amounts here up to 8 inches are going to be possible, in which we are definitely likely going to be seeing a pretty good amount a pretty good amount of rainfall even out here, which could be a lot higher. So, and of course, we have the dark green 2 to 4 inches, and for the light green, we have 1 to 2 inches here overall. So, hopping back over here into the storm surge. So, the surges are absolutely going to be the biggest for the big island of Hawaii, in which we're already likely starting to feel those surges at this point here, because we're basically getting a lot of that water being pushed inland here. I'll tell you what, we're going to bring back up our radar for a second, so I can kind of explain this a little bit here for y'all. For some reason, it is not wanting to click on that radar here. Let's try doing this maybe. We'll try to reload that radar. Hopefully it'll work. There we go. Yeah, so you can see where the system is now. I mean, it is a pretty good sized storm here. But, as far as the storm surge goes, like we mentioned, we have a lot of that surge really working its way in. I don't know why this is still so big. There we go. So you can see, a lot of that water is going to be pushing inland here from this system, in which, that's because we have a lot of strong winds, pushing towards those coastal areas. And so a lot of that water is going to be piling up there on the coastal region. So with that being said, of course, that is going to be leading to a bit of a coastal flooding concern here overall. So, anyways, let's see. You just sent a video on Discord. Pizza, can you send it on X by any chance? Because I don't have my Discord on this computer. So if I did, I would, but unfortunately I don't. If you can, that would be awesome. Yeah, like I said, guys, if you want to ultimately, submit any reports or anything like that to us, if we actually hop on over here, this right here is our Twitter page. You can follow us here at NWW116_WX, and you can submit any reports here if you would like to for the system. I just want you guys to know that if you guys do want to submit anything, and I could actually share it on the stream here if you guys would like to. That would be awesome, and I will give you guys a shout out with that here, of course, if you guys would like to. But that's how you do it. Once again, follow us on NWW116_WX here on Twitter. So, anyways, so that's what we're dealing with here with that system. But yeah, going back over here to the towards the surges and all that stuff here. Once again, 1 to 3 foot here across the big island of Hawaii, and of course 1 to 2 foot here elsewhere, including like Maui. Even out there by Honolulu, we could see ourselves, we could see ourselves up to 1 to 2 foot here. So we do got to look out there for the surges. Thankfully, they could be a whole lot worse, of course. But, of course, surges are still going to be absolutely a bit of a concern here. So, head on over here, y'all, to the current position and everything like that with this system. So, I kind of want to show y'all where everything's at right now. If we do hop on over here, you can see this big yellow blob. This is currently where those estimated tropical storm force winds are currently. And this is where we are seeing those sustained winds, 39 to 74 miles per hour here is across the yellow area. And then, of course, this red area, this is where those hurricane force winds are, where we're likely seeing those sustained winds up to like 75 miles per hour. So that's kind of where those 75 mile per hour winds are. You can still see that the hurricane force conditions are still relatively just southeast of the main island of Hawaii. But as this thing continues working, further, once again, northwest here, those hurricane conditions could easily brush the southern tip here of the big island, in which, at that point, I mean, we definitely have got to, really watch out for this, and we'll need you guys to really be, staying safe at that point, of course, and just keeping a close eye on this system. And, like I said, y'all, my prayers are going to be out there for you guys, and, we'll be here. We'll definitely be here to help you all out here as far as coverage goes here. But yeah, you can see those tropical storm force conditions here. I mean, they're already across a lot of the big island. They haven't quite reached any of the other islands here of Hawaii yet. As you can see, those tropical storm force conditions are mainly just for the big island here as of right now. So, anyways, hopping back to radar, you guys can see the system here currently. I tell you what we're going to do, though. I'm going to go ahead and disable the warnings here. Really don't need them at the current moment, but yeah, you can see a lot of those inner bands really pushing inland here overall. So with that being said, here and all, we definitely do have a lot of heavy rain already falling across these regions here, which is already leading to that flooding concern here. I think I might be able to bring up the total precipitation. Yeah, here's storm total precipitation as of right now. So this is estimated by radar, just a bit of a heads up, but it looks like we've already seen, several inches of rain here that's fallen out there by Mountain View according to radar. Once again, this is an estimation. This is showing us that we do have ourselves, pretty much, basically 4 inches or so overall. So we are definitely seeing a pretty good amount of rain that's already fallen out there across some of those regions. Some areas, according to radar, estimating upwards of 6 to maybe 7 inches or so that's already fallen. But, like we had mentioned, we are expecting, a good upwards of 25 inches here overall. So that is something that we're going to have to, basically look out here for overall. And like I said, guys, if y'all have any questions, please do not hesitate to ask here in the chat. I'm going to be more than happy to take a look at y'all's areas here, too, if you want me to take a look at a specific region, if you guys are just kind of curious on what's going on here. Like I said, we're gonna go through this together. We'll make sure that you guys are staying safe out there, and I'll do my best to keep you guys up to date with everything. But just wanted to let you guys know that here overall. So, I tell you what, we're going to hop back over here into, I tell you what we're going to do, actually. We're going to head over into the wind speeds here. Now, this is according to the HWRF model here, which we're going to go ahead and pull up here now. We're going to pull up the HWRF. We're going to do Lala here. So, this is the latest run of the HWRF model as far as the winds go. Now, remember, this is not this is not wind gusts. This is not peak winds. This is just sustained winds and how strong we could see those constant winds here overall. So the latest HWRF model really does show that we could have like sustained winds of possibly 60, maybe 70 miles per hour here for the southern tip of Hawaii here. You can see that, once again, this is just one piece of the puzzle here, of course. The HWRF model is a little bit off, I think, honestly, because it does show the center of that storm actually going and making that direct landfall. At this point, I don't think that's really quite the case. I think that center is just going to remain relatively just south of the Big Island here of Hawaii. But like I had mentioned here, we still, regardless of that scenario, we still definitely need you guys to be actively watching this here. I'll tell you what I am going to do, though. I'm going to go ahead and bring up the wind gusts. I think for that, we might need to pull up a different model here. We're going to pull up the HAFS-A model. I do believe I can pull up wind gusts on this one, in which we can. So let's hop over to wind gusts here. This is basically peak winds overall. Now, according to this model, it's definitely pretty nasty as far as how much wind gusts we could see. As you can see, those gusts down there for the southern tip of the Big Island of Hawaii. Out there by Ocean View, we could be picking up some gusts upwards of maybe 80 to 90 miles per hour here at that system. Definitely quite a bit. Now, further up here into those upper elevations here too, we also could be picking up a pretty good amount of winds as well, maybe 70 to 80 miles per hour. So yeah, once again, definitely some really, really strong wind gusts here with that system. Out there by Hilo, I think that's how you pronounce that. We are going to be seeing some of those gusts here. You guys are further up north. We're still going to be gusting pretty heavily. It looks like we could see some gusts maybe upwards of 40-ish miles per hour or so, according to this here. It is definitely still going to be pretty windy out there, but definitely not as bad as like the southern tip here of the island, as that's kind of where some of the heaviest of the effects are going to be felt here overall. But yeah, we're definitely going to be seeing likely some pretty nasty gusts here. Now, as we continue further down into time out there by like Honolulu and all, it looks like we could pick up some wind gusts maybe near 40 to 50 miles per hour here. This will be here for basically the morning of the 16th here. So this is for tomorrow morning. And this is for 11 o'clock a.m. So this would be 5 o'clock a.m. your guys' time. So this is just before sunrise, in which we will be seeing some of those gusts here upwards of, once again, 40 to 50 miles per hour by Honolulu. That's going to be more near our closest approach here to Honolulu here. Storm continues working here to the west here. Of course, we could see some gusts for a lot of the other islands here, upwards of 40 to 50 miles per hour. Like we mentioned, these islands here, all of these islands are in for tropical storm conditions. This is where those tropical storm warnings are in effect here for the system. And of course, those hurricane warnings are, of course, for the Big Island. So hurricane warnings for these areas in the Big Island, of course, and of course, tropical storm force conditions or tropical storm warnings is in these areas. So once again, these are the wind gusts here of kind of what we're expected to see here with that system. Some of the heaviest of the gusts are definitely coming up here. This is showing 11 p.m. Eastern time, where we could be seeing some of those peak winds according to this particular model. So, it's going to be very, very close here, to that landfall like we talked about, but regardless of what it does, we're still going to be scraping that northern core of that system, more than likely, in which we are going to be seeing those winds here once again, 80 to maybe even 90 mile per hour wind gusts here. Now, this is the HAFS-A model here, once again, which is only one piece of the puzzle. Now, if we pull up the HAFS-B model, just for a little bit of comparison here, of course, not a whole lot of difference. In fact, actually, this model is more severe. In which we already are seeing, potential for gusts upwards of 90 to maybe even 95 miles per hour here. And according to the HFSB, just off the coast, we could be seeing some gusts maybe up to 100 to 110 or so. Remember, this is one model here and all. But, same thing for everybody else, basically. We could see some gusts up to 40 or so out there by like Honolulu, 40, maybe 50 in some spots there. which, yeah, I mean, definitely is going to be pretty nasty. So by far, I mean, we are going to be seeing some really nasty winds here, especially for the southern side of the Big Island, and also for those upper elevations there too. We're going to be really, really feeling it out there. Let's see here. My good friend lives in Ocean View, 5,000 feet up in the mountain. Can't get a hold of him. Well, hopefully he's all right, my friend. I'm sure he's fine. He's probably just, you got to think there's probably a lot of power outages out here, and I'm sure that there's not much connectivity. Even cell towers and stuff like that could even go down during storms like this. So I'm sure. I mean, I'm sure he's all right. And I'm sure he's preparing for the system the best he can. So, but yeah, we definitely are getting some pretty heavy winds out there. We're expected to really see some heavy winds here, and within a couple of hours here overall. So, but anyways, let's see here. Heard Ocean View is really windy. Yeah, gotcha. Yeah, I mean it's supposed to really pick up here in a little bit here. Currently, well, it looks like we could see some bands here. I mean, this is showing some bands now, roughly maybe 75 to 80. Yeah, I mean, we're definitely pretty strong here, I mean, according to the HAFSA model here overall. So let's see here. Jason, thank you so much for the $2, man. I appreciate it. Saying it's pronounced Hilo. All good, bro. All right, thank you. I appreciate it, friend. Jason, once again, thank you so much, dude, for the $2. It's Hilo. Okay, I'll try to remember that. So yeah, out there by Hilo, we are seeing those gusts, not as crazy. I mean, not forecasted to be as crazy as, say, like the southern tip of the Big Island. That's where the biggest effects are going to be really felt at. Because those are the regions where we're seeing possibly 80 to maybe even 90 mile per hour wind gusts out there. So, what's up, Atlanta? Good to see you. Hope you're doing well, good friend. Saying, let's see, what side? Super windy, huge gusts here. Let me check on that area for you, friend. Let's go ahead and see kind of where we stand right now. I'll go ahead and pull up the radar view and all that stuff here, too, for you. Yeah, so you're up here on the northern side of the island. Now, thankfully, I mean, we are still definitely going to be seeing the potential for really strong wind gusts out there. According to the models, possibly 50, maybe 60 mile per hour wind gusts out there being a good possibility. If I do bring the current radar, which I was wanting to do here anyways, if we do bring up our current radar view, which we're going to go ahead and switch over to PHKM, you could definitely see, honestly, you're kind of in kind of a radar dead zone. I hate to say that, yeah, because of the terrain. Hawaii has a hard time with radar here, considering the terrain and all. But based off of what we're seeing around you, there is definitely a lot of heavy rain going on out there, which you're definitely going to be feeling it. I might even be able to pull up the PHMO radar. There you go. Yeah, so that actually covers your area, which we can see definitely some pretty decent rainfall going on out there. Just be sure you stay safe. I mean, we already do have a flash flood warning in effect here. And this is in effect here until 2 o'clock your guys' time here. So this expires here just in about a little over an hour or so. So we have a little bit to go with this, of course, but yeah, definitely, just please stay safe out there, friend. And once again, the biggest concern by far is definitely going to be that flooding potential. Now, heading on over here, y'all, to the overall rainfall totals. Once again, the Weather Prediction Center, they really haven't changed much on this here. Still expected to be very nasty as far as rain goes. We are talking for the eastern side of the Big Island here. Isolated amounts up to 25 inches of rainfall. Definitely seeing a lot of heavy rain potential out there. Up to 2 foot of rain. For those eastern sides. So all of that rain is going to be rolling down the mountains too, and really kind of channeling its way over there towards those coastal regions, which, definitely is going to lead to a really big flooding concern here overall, unfortunately. And as far as like everybody else goes, like we mentioned, the dark red, 16 to 20 inches of rain expected here. That's without the potential for higher potential. I mean, there is going to be potentially localized areas that could be much higher. But there for the dark red, yeah, 16 to 20 inches of rain expected here. Here for the red, we are seeing 12 to 16 inches overall. For the orange, 8 to 12. For the dark yellow, 6 to 8. And for the yellow, of course, 4 to 6 inches here. And you can definitely see, I mean, even areas out there by Maui, especially the eastern side of Maui, we could be seeing anywhere from 8 to 12 inches of rain. Isolated amounts up to 8 inches for a lot of the other islands here, which, even that is still a lot of rain, which could easily lead to some flooding and stuff like that. So that is something that we, really need you guys also up there to really monitor. This is by far the biggest concern here with this system overall. So as far as surges go, we are talking once again relatively mild surging with this event, thankfully, but I mean there is still that surge potential. I mean there is still going to be impacts from surges, so don't let it fool you, because we are seeing 1 to 3 foot surges out here for the Big Island here of Hawaii. So that's that water level being 1 to 3 foot higher than it typically would be here on a normal day. because of the fact that we're seeing a lot of those strong winds pushing in a lot of that water here into the Big Island. Now, for everybody else, like we had mentioned, we're talking 1 to 2 foot of storm surge out there, which includes basically the rest of the islands here, which is going to be 1 to 2 foot above normal. Not to mention, we can't forget about that rain we just talked about here too, falling, in which, that heavy rain that's going to be falling is going to be leading to another flooding concern. The freshwater flooding and then saltwater flooding with the surges, and also combined, there's going to be a lot of effects here with that overall. So anyway, since we're already on the Hurricane Center, let's go ahead and talk about this here real quickly. So, yeah, like we mentioned, if you're just tuning in, it is indeed a hurricane. It's a Category 1 hurricane right now, sustaining 75-mile-per-hour winds here. Right now, we are likely seeing some wind gusts upwards of 90 miles per hour here within some of the worst bands of the storm here. Storm currently has slowed down a little bit. It's moving northwest at 8 miles per hour here currently. So, I mean, it's definitely slowed down a little bit, which is not necessarily a good thing, because the fact that it does slow down means that it's going to be sitting over an area for a longer period of time here overall. So, and that's going to lead to more hours of heavier rainfall, and which is going to lead to an overall greater flooding threat. So, yeah, across the yellow blob that you see here, this is where those estimated tropical storm force winds are. Basically, the range between 39 and 74 miles per hour. Sustained winds are currently estimated to be here across that yellow area overall. And then, of course, we do have ourselves the hurricane conditions here across the, the reddish areas here too, which is a kind of tiny little area. That's where we are seeing those sustained winds like 75 miles per hour, just mainly still southeast of the Big Island. Now, like I mentioned, as this thing continues pushing to the northwest, that will likely scrape some of the southern portions of the Big Island, in which we're going to be seeing sustained winds here of, up to 75 miles per hour, with gusts obviously into 80 to, maybe even 90 mile per hour winds there. So really going to be seeing some high gusts, in which we're already starting to report some pretty strong winds out there for the southern side here of the Big Island of Hawaii. So like we mentioned, as far as the warnings and all go, obviously the Big Island has hurricane warnings in effect. The remainder of the islands here, all the way from Maui to the western islands, we do have ourselves tropical storm warnings here in effect here. So everybody else is in those tropical storm warnings, saying tropical storm conditions is expected here overall. So what's up, Wages? Good to see you, friend. Thank you for the sunshine. I appreciate that. Thank you. Let's see here. The topography will make it stall. I mean, yeah, the geography of, or the mountainous regions here of Hawaii will definitely affect the storm in terms of strength as well, because it's really disrupting those lower levels and just the circulation here of that system overall. So, yeah, it's definitely pretty crazy there. See, I posted a video on X for you. Alrighty, friend. Let me go ahead and pull this up here. Let's see if I can do this here real quickly. So this is, let's see. Oh, wow. Okay. I think I see your video here. I'm sure you're all right with me using it, which let's go ahead and switch on over here real quickly to this video. So this is a video coming in from Pizza of Friday. As you can see, it's definitely coming down pretty good. We got some really heavy rain out here. So where was this at, Pizza? Where'd you say that this was at? I mean, the wind's definitely, it looks like it is a little bit breezy out there, of course, but, this is not kind of the heaviest of the winds here. A lot of those heaviest parts of the winds are going to be for the southern side, of the Big Island, like we had mentioned. Goodness. That's pretty crazy. Well, thank you so much for sharing, dude. That's greatly appreciated. I really do appreciate it. If you guys do want to, share anything to our streams here, like I mentioned, you can tag us on Twitter at NWW116 on your post. At NWW116_WX. That's how you can tag us, in which, like we had mentioned, you guys can do that, in which we'll definitely show you guys kind of what's going on. That's out there by Fern Forest. I got you. Yeah, so Fern Forest is, I believe, the eastern side. Yeah, you guys are righted here. So, I mean, the storm is definitely getting closer. It is going to be getting a little bit stronger and stronger as we do get closer and closer here to the center of that storm. Now, you guys are probably really starting to feel some of those heavy bands here now, in which, the system, as you can see, there's the center of the storm. It is working its way here to the northwest. Not before long will the southern tip of the Big Island really be feeling those those strong core winds there, and that's where we're probably going to be starting to see those hurricane force sustained winds, like we had mentioned, up to 75 miles per hour, and we could have those gusts like we had mentioned here up to up to 90 miles per hour here is what we are currently expecting here with that system. So I do want to go ahead and bring you guys back over here into the official cone. So if we do actually hop on over here, we're going to go and pull up the cone here for you guys. Yeah, so the current forecast cone, once again, has the system currently a Category 1 hurricane here. Like we had mentioned, we are sustaining 75. So that means there towards the core, we are seeing sustained winds of 75 miles per hour. So constant wind flow of 75 miles per hour. Wind gusts, we are seeing 90 miles per hour. So we are seeing those wind peaks up to 90 miles per hour here. And this is, of course, the latest advisory that we just had here just about an hour or so ago. We're actually going to check on the hurricane hunters here in a moment, so stay tuned for that. But yeah, we are seeing currently a Category 1. Now, as it continues working northwesterly here, or northwestward, I should say, eventually it is expected to downgrade its way into a tropical storm here. This is for basically 8 o'clock p.m. today for you guys. At this point, the system will be downgraded to a tropical storm, in which we will be seeing sustained winds of 60 miles per hour, gusting up to 70. As we continue westward here over into basically 8 a.m. tomorrow morning, we'll be even down to 50 mile per hour sustained winds, gusting up to 65. Continuing westward, then it's going to start to just kind of hold off there for a little bit, but it is forecasted to actually start picking back up in terms of strength here and reemerge into a Category 1 hurricane here right around 8 o'clock in the morning here for the 19th. So here on the 19th, it is expected to turn back into a hurricane. You can see that the system is expected to start to change its course to the northwest. Now, these islands out here could really have a bit of a concern here. I don't really see any names on these islands. I don't even know if there's hardly any people out here. Which this right here could be a pretty big concern. I don't really see. You know what? Yeah, there's definitely people on these islands. What islands is this? I wish it would show me. Because, yeah, these islands are likely going to be feeling the effects at some point here as the system is forecasted to work its way in that general direction here overall. Like, if I do bring up our spaghetti models and all, I mean, there is a pretty good amount of support, as you can see, that shows that system either getting relatively near those islands, if not going directly over them, which if that was the case, I mean, of course, the storm will be actually stronger as it's out here as opposed to over where it's at right now. It's actually forecasted to become even stronger here, which is obviously not very good, but anyways, but that's kind of what we're seeing here. This is the old spaghetti models, actually. Let's go ahead and try to refresh those here. Let's go ahead and change our ensembles to Lala here. We'll go to the 12 Zulu runs here. So this is the latest runs that we have. And actually, it does seem like, yeah, we are going to have a pretty good likelihood of the system pulling to the north here overall. Are those islands part of the state? No, this is not a part of Hawaii. Hawaii is right here. I think that is considered a island of Hawaii. All of these islands, these are all Hawaii. These are not. These are just other little islands here, which I'm not too sure which islands these are. But anyways, but yeah, I mean, if definitely probably going to be feeling some effects on that, on those other islands here just west, because there is quite a few of islands out here. Quite a few islands in these regions, which we might have to really kind of look out there for overall. So we'll keep an eye on it, and obviously, if I can try to figure out more about those islands here after the system does kind of roll through, and if we need to do coverage for them, we might. But anyways, but regardless, yeah, it's definitely going to be a pretty nasty storm regardless, because those waters are going to be absolutely rough out there. They're going to be very, very rough here. So anyway, so here's the current radar view, guys. This is currently what it looks like at the current moment. I mean, as you can see, there's the core of the system right in here. It is continually working its way here to the northwest. Now, as far as the center of that storm, I do believe that the center of the storm, is likely just going to continue working northwest. The center should just relatively remain, I'd say, just south of the Big Island here. But we're still going to be seeing some of those inner bands. I mean, we're actually already starting to see some of those inner bands getting closer to the southern tip here of the Big Island, in which that is where you're really going to be feeling some of those effects. And honestly, we might even be seeing some of those hurricane winds here not too far out from now. across some of those southern areas here of the Big Island. That's, where we're really going to be feeling some strong winds here. And that's out there by the Ocean View area here. We're going to be really feeling that overall. Now, as far as the models had go, like we talked about here a minute ago, if we actually go ahead and bring up those models here, which I do want to do, like if we bring back up our HAFSB model here, as far as that goes, with the, let's go ahead and pause this real quickly. As far as that goes here, with those winds, if we go over here to wind gusts overall, you can actually see here that if we do pull this up, and we're definitely going to be seeing some pretty heavy wind gusts out there. I mean, we're going to be seeing some gusts upwards of maybe 80 to even 90 plus mile per hour winds here. I mean, shoot, that goes all the way up into even those upper elevations of the central part of the Big Island here. We're probably going to be seeing a lot of those, a lot of those strong winds, wind gusts. Once again, what the winds could peak up to here overall. So, anyways, let's see here. Let's see. Wade just says, "Hey, I live in Ground Zero here in Indiana. We got close to 19 inches of unexpected. If you wanted, or 1 in 1,000. Oh wow, that's crazy. Lots of images and videos. If you wanted to cover the event, let me know. Yeah, I think we're mainly going to be focusing on Lala, but I do appreciate it, friend. I really do." Really appreciate it. Yeah, like I mentioned, though, y'all, we definitely do have now. I mean, we're likely seeing some of the pretty strong wind gusts out here. So right now, kind of where we're at, we're probably seeing those gusts upwards of 60 to 70 miles per hour here as far as the models go. So we're definitely going to need to once again, always obviously keep an eye out there for these regions here. I mean, from now, of course, until the point the system does roll through, because I mean, it's just going to be heavy wind gusts for the next several hours here. So, but the worst of it, unfortunately, is still yet to come. I mean, it's going to get a little bit closer. As you can see, this is for right around 5 o'clock p.m. your guys' time here. According to the HAFSB model, you can see that closest approach here, we are going to be seeing some of those winds, according to this model, up by Ocean View, I mean, probably gusting upwards of 80 to maybe even 90 miles per hour, which obviously that will be, hurricane conditions here and all that stuff. So anyways, that is what we are currently seeing. Any live pictures from land? I don't really have any right now, unfortunately. I might be able to pull up some here in a little bit, so we might do that here. See if I can figure out anything here in a little bit. But for now, like I said, we have a lot of observations and stuff like that we can go off of, and stuff like that. We'll just be here to mainly just keep you guys up to date with everything here as what they go here for now. So anyways, I tell you what, friends, we are going to hop over back into the rainfall projections here. So this is from the WPC. This is from the Weather Prediction Center. Like we had mentioned, we do have ourselves isolated amounts up to 2 feet of rain here for the eastern side of the Big Island here overall. So we are seeing up to 2 foot of rain here. And in which we are expecting, 16 to 20 inches across the dark red. Here for the red, we're seeing 12 to 16 inches, the orange 8 to 12, which also includes bits of Maui here. For the eastern side of Maui, also the Big Island, like we had mentioned, across the orange, 8 to 12 inches of rain is expected. Here for the dark yellow, we're talking 6 to 8, the yellow 4 to 6, the dark green here 2 to 4. You can see a lot of the other islands, including areas out there by like Honolulu, we do have 4 to 6 inches expected with isolated amounts, so local amounts here, possibly up to 8 inches overall, which is definitely pretty darn heavy as far as that goes. I mean, we're likely going to be seeing some heavy flooding even across these areas, but like I said, catastrophic flooding here for the Big Island overall. So for, like I mentioned, everybody else, we're definitely going to be seeing a lot of heavy rain here too. So anyways, back over to surges and stuff like that we had talked about here. We are talking pretty big potential of flooding, of course, from the rainfall. As far as surges go, I mean, we do have, like we mentioned, 1 to 3 foot across the Big Island. Thankfully for this type of event, giving that the obviously it is a Category 1, like I mentioned before, there's a lot of people that are saying it's only a Cat 1, it's not going to be anything crazy. No, flooding's the big problem, but because it is a Category 1 here, thankfully those winds aren't as strong as, say, like an upper, higher category. So those surges are expected to be a little bit lower, but like we mentioned, still is a concern. I mean, we are talking 1 to 3 foot above sea level here, which is going to allow for that water level to be pretty high. Not to mention, though, if you think about it here, with all that rain that's running down the mountain, I mean, that's really going to allow for the flooding on those coastal areas to be very, very high. That's just the salt water, being 1 to 3 foot above where it normally would be. But if you add all that freshwater rain coming down the mountain, I mean, it's going to be really, really coming down here. And, that's going to be leading to, some catastrophic flooding there. And so a lot of those coastal areas will actually probably be higher than 1 to 3 foot if you think about it overall. Because, I mean, like we had mentioned here, if we go back to our flooding or rainfall potential, where we have that localized amount up to 25 inches, you got to think that's going to be falling across a lot of the eastern side of, the eastern side of the Big Island of Hawaii, in which, that's going to be rolling down the slopes of the mountain, and that's going to be piling up there towards those coastal areas. So, you got to think, if it was a flat plain, if it was completely flat, they could see amounts up to 25. But given that there's that tilt to the terrain, it's going to be rolling down the mountain, of course. And, that is going to allow for, of course, the flooding to really kind of pile up there overall. So, anyways, but like we had mentioned, 16 to 20 inches of rainfall across the dark red. Of course, 12 to 16 across the red, and for the other areas, you can see the color code on the map here. Isolated amounts up to 8 inches for a lot of the other islands, including out there by Honolulu and everything like that. So, all right, let's hop back over to current radar, y'all. So this is what we are currently seeing here with this system. So this is the current radar view. You can see, definitely is quite the beast of a storm here. I mean, you can see it's definitely kind of closing in on the Big Island here as we speak. I mean, it is. We're still not quite the peak intensity quite yet here as far as, the heaviest impacts on the Big Island, like we had mentioned. But we definitely do have that system, continually working relatively slowly northwest. Like we had mentioned, it is moving about 8 miles per hour to the northwest. So it isn't really moving that fast. But we are starting to see a lot of those mid bands really just slamming against the eastern side of the Big Island of Hawaii, in which, flooding is already ongoing at this point. I mean, we already do have flash flood warnings in effect here for a lot of the southern, eastern, and northern parts of the Big Island of Hawaii here. So we're already expecting, of course, that flooding. And if we go back to the radar estimated rainfall, like we were looking at here a little bit ago, if we go to storm total precipitation, you can see, I mean, at this point, out there by Fern Forest here, I mean, I think that's where Pizza's at in the chat. According to the radar, we're estimating between maybe 5 to 6 inches of rain that's already fallen out here. Out there by Hilo, I think it is. Somebody said it a little bit ago. Hold on, it's Hilo. I remembered it. Oh my goodness. Jason told me earlier it's Hilo. So out here at Hilo, we are seeing what appears to be maybe 3-4 inches estimated by radar. Remember, this is not a physical observation, but this is an estimation from the radar here. So it's likely not approximate, but anyways, between 3 and 4 here overall. So anyways, what's up, Crystal? Good to see you, friend. Thank you so much for the Tropical Storm membership for now 2 years. Can you believe that, friend? Thank you so much, Crystal. Big shout out goes to you. Saying, hi, Andrew. What's up with the tornado risk in Western Ohio? Okay, we'll take a look at that here really quickly, real fast, because, I mean, this stream is mainly dedicated for the folks in Hawaii. As far as our tornado threat goes for today, give me 1 second, you guys. I do apologize. I just want to go ahead and bring this up here for them real quickly. Tornado probs, we have a 2% chance today for lower west central, lower portion of Ohio, northern Kentucky here to eastern Indiana. Just a 2% chance probability of tornadic activity every 25 miles. The tornado probs are pretty darn low for today. Anyways, heading back on over here. But once again, Crystal, thank you so much for the membership for 24 months. That's for 2 years. That's crazy. Thanks so much. Anyways, let's see. What's up, Doug? Good to see you. Hope you're doing well. No, you're good. I just went live here about an hour ago. So, anyways, let's see here. Anthony says over 10 inches of rain in my gauge already. Wow. So you're up County Maui, up to 10 inches or over 10 inches. That's crazy. That's crazy. You please stay safe out there, Anthony. If there's any questions you have, do not hesitate to ask here. I mean, we're definitely seeing some pretty heavy rainfall. As far as everybody else here, like Honolulu and all, radar estimates are still pretty darn low as far as current rainfall. I mean, we do have maybe some areas up to ½ inch or so. Once again, this is estimations. I couldn't say the word there for a minute. That's where the radar is estimating, but it doesn't look like we've seen a whole lot quite yet. But, that rain is still yet to come. But not the same can be said for the Big Island of Hawaii, which we're already really feeling that here. I mean, like we had mentioned here, 7-8 inches of rain has already fallen out there across those areas. So, see, I can't believe it's been 2 years. I know, right? That's crazy. What's up, Chase? Good to see you, friend. please be careful out there. Anthony says, thanks, man. Of course. Like I said, I'm here for you guys. We'll make sure to, keep y'all up to date here with the weather. And, we're going to be here for y'all and make sure y'all are staying on top of this system here. So, anyways, hopping back over here into the, the overall rainfall forecast. Once again, this is by far the biggest concern of the system. It's going to be the flooding problem. So this is the amount of rain we're expecting here. This is from the official Weather Prediction Center, the WPC. This is the latest guidance that they have here. Let's actually go ahead and update that. Still the same here. Yeah, so we are seeing isolated amounts up to 25 inches of rainfall. Now, 24 inches is 2 feet. This is slightly over 2 foot of rain potential. Now, given the terrain, like we had mentioned here, of Hawaii, for the Big Island anyways, Hawaii in general is very, very mountainous, but, for the Big Island, it's just a big mountain, right? So you can imagine a lot of that water that's going to be falling, a lot of that rain that's going to be falling on those, mountaintops is going to be rolling down to those coastal areas. And of course, with the storm surge coming in and kind of piling up there on the coastal areas here, with all that storm surge coming in and that water coming down the mountains, you can imagine a lot of that water is really going to be piling up there around those coastal areas. And that, my friends, that is going to be the biggest concern. That is why I'm saying that either the rainfall and the flooding is going to be such a bad concern, is because the mixture between the surges, that saltwater flooding, the water being pushed inland, towards those coastal areas here, not to mention, basically 1 to 3 foot for the Big Island, being pushed above normal here. So, yeah, between that and, of course, all the freshwater flooding here, too. So, Crystal says, what's the tropical name? This one is called Lala. So let's actually hop back over here to the current cone. I'll go ahead and show y'all kind of what we're talking about here now. Yeah, so if we pull up the current cone with this system. So yeah, the storm is named Lala. We are currently seeing the storm sustaining 75 mile per hour winds here. So this is, sustained winds, constant winds here of 75 miles per hour, and which we are seeing gusts up to 90 miles per hour here. So we're definitely seeing some pretty strong wind gusts out there. Out there by the southern side, out there by the Mountain View area, Ocean View. Why did I say Mountain View? Out there by the Ocean View area, we are seeing likely upwards of 60, maybe 70 mile per hour winds right now. Gusts, what the winds are peaking up to for, just usually a few seconds here. But yeah, as we continue further down in time, these areas are probably going to be feeling 80 to 90 mile per hour winds here pretty darn soon. So really got to watch out for that. But yeah, it currently is sustaining 75, gusting up to 90. And of course, the storm it doesn't say here, but it is moving northwest here at 8 miles per hour. So it is moving relatively slow. It is expected to weaken quite a bit as it does interact with the Big Island here of Hawaii. Of course, that is expecting to, or it is expected for that to weaken the system a bit. It's disrupting the storm's wind field, its overall structural integrity. It's being weakened by the geography of Hawaii, in which, weakening is expected. It is going to run into a little bit of wind shear here too, so it is supposed to remain a tropical storm for the next several days, but in the long term, it is expected to regenerate back into a hurricane and actually get a little bit stronger than what it is now. So, like I mentioned, it is definitely going to be a pretty strong storm. Yeah, a lot of people are like, well, it's only a Category 1. It's only going to be only a Cat 1. No, like I mentioned, y'all, regardless of the category, for this particular storm, it's not the winds. Yeah, winds are stronger on higher categories, but even low-end category storms have a massive concern in some of them. It doesn't matter the category. That's irrelevant when it comes to overall impacts, because, yes, having a higher category would mean stronger winds and stuff like that. But what really it boils down to is how much rain is going to be. And that comes off of how slow that storm moving, how big that storm is. That really determines the overall impacts. And I've had a lot of people, I hate to say it, there has been a lot of people that have been really underdoing this event here, have been really kind of, blowing the storm off like it's nothing. Whenever we're talking potential up to 2 foot or more of rainfall, which all of that's going to be, that's just on a flat plane. That's just flat, seeing 25-inch potential. We're talking in elevation. That's going to roll down the mountains towards those coastal areas. So you see what I'm saying? So it's actually going to be even more than that in some spots. There could be some areas several feet underwater because of the amount of rain and precipitation, just the overall amount of water we're talking about here. So it's hard to put in perspective. Like I said, it's irrelevant to the category. It's how slow the storm's moving, which is moving fairly slow. So we're only moving 8 miles an hour right now to the northwest. On top of that, the size of the storm, I mean, it's a pretty big storm. I mean, if I go ahead and show you guys the radar view here, if we actually bring back up the reflectivity here overall, I mean, you can really kind of see just how big that storm really is. I mean, it is a pretty decent sized storm here. I mean, there's the big island of Hawaii. Here's the storm here. I mean, it's a pretty good sized storm here overall. I mean, it's definitely is pretty strong here. So like we had talked about with the surges and all that stuff here, as far as the surges go and all, we are seeing a lot of those strong winds pushing inland towards those coastal areas. So that's where the surge concerns come in. Like we had mentioned, the surges are, all that water is being pushed towards the coastal areas, which is causing that water level to rise because the winds are so strong that they're literally pushing that water closer to the coastal areas. And so by it doing that, we are seeing that water level rising and getting, higher and higher, which we're talking 1 to 3 foot of storm surge. Now, yes, it is mild comparing to other events, but still, 1 to 3 foot of storm surge is a concern. Not to mention, most of the flooding is going to be coming from that fresh water. That's the saltwater flooding. The freshwater flooding, you're coming down from the mountains and stuff like that overall. So, anyways, let's see here. Anthony says we have trees down here too. Serious gusts already, along with rain. Well, you be careful out there, Anthony. Like I mentioned, if there's anything I can do for you, friend, let me know. Like I said, I'm here for you guys, and that goes for everybody. If any of you guys have any questions or want to know anything, please do not hesitate to ask. I am more than happy to help you guys. Absolutely. Enlighten says thank you for the coverage and keeping fellow Hawaiians aware and safe. Of course, friend. Like I said, it's my pleasure, guys. I'm glad to be here. Like I said, I track the weather anyways, regardless. So, and me doing this on YouTube and all, like, it's honestly been my dream job. I just love tracking weather. I do it on my own time. And the fact that I can stream and talk about the weather is honestly my dream job. And you guys help make it possible. So I can't thank you guys more than enough. So thank you all for that. I really, really do appreciate it. You guys are awesome. And but you're very welcome. Like I said, it's my pleasure. I'm just glad to be here. I really am. Let's see. Anthony says so true. It's been bad. I've been here over 30 years and we're already getting a ton of rain out there in Maui. Well, yeah, you be careful once again, Anthony. Absolutely. Let's see here. Sniper says, although the hurricane is going to pass to the south of us a little bit, it's lining up perfectly to create mayhem across the islands. It's the northern bands of this thing that are going to hit us. Yeah, I mean, like we mentioned, even for some of those outer bands, I mean, we're going to be seeing some strong, strong winds, some heavy rain and stuff like that. Once again, the winds are a concern. Yes, absolutely. But the leading concern is the rainfall. Just the sheer volume of water we're talking about with this system here. I mean, this is a very saturated storm here. There's a lot of rain involved here with this one. Let's see. Great job, man. Thank you. I appreciate it. Chase says, what are the maximum expected winds here in Pearl Harbor? So that's out here. So that's not Honolulu. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. So out here by Honolulu, I mean, we're talking tropical storm conditions for literally everybody else here, like we had talked about. We are seeing, of course, the main island here of Hawaii. We're talking hurricane warnings in effect here, in which we are seeing the remainder of the islands here, in those tropical storm conditions. So we're expecting those gusts here. We'll actually bring those back up here. We haven't looked at them here in a few moments. So let's go ahead and switch on over here. So let's go ahead and switch over to the models once again. We're going to go get rid of everything on the screen here, and we're going to go ahead and bring that up. So let's head on over here. We're going to pull up the we're going to look at the HAFSA model. I think we're going to go ahead and pull up here first. Here, we'll go to HAFSA. We'll do Lala. Now, I am going to bring up our wind gusts here. So let's go ahead and do that real quickly. So these are wind speeds. Let's do wind gusts. Let me go ahead and change this over real quickly. Bear with me. HAFSA, sorry. There we go. Now, if we do go back in time a little bit, so these are the sustained winds. Now, I do want to change that to wind gust, kind of peak winds here with this system, like we had talked about. So, yeah, we are definitely seeing some pretty strong peak winds here. Now, like we had talked about, this is one model. This is one piece of the puzzle here overall. We are seeing those winds here gusting upwards to, let's see here, 80 to 90 mile per hour winds there, according to this model. Now, this is for 11 p.m. Eastern, and this is essentially 5 o'clock p.m. your guys' time. So this is still a little bit down in time here. Where we stand now, the current time here is 6:20 Eastern. So we're kind of right now, I mean, we're probably already starting to see some of those wind gusts here, upwards of 70 miles per hour, according to the HAFSA model, across a lot of those upper portions of the Big Island there. So as far as it goes for like Honolulu and all, as far as like the winds do approach, I mean, we are going to be seeing those gusts more between 40 to 50 miles per hour here. Like we mentioned, we do have tropical storm warnings in effect for all of the islands except for the Big Island, because a Big Island here, we actually have those hurricane warnings here in effect. So, but yeah, we're definitely seeing those gusts pretty darn high here. And so as it goes down in time, I mean, over here for the next several hours. Wow. Okay, according to HFSA, look at this. Apparently here east of Captain Cook, it looks like we might be seeing those gusts maybe 90 to 100. That is one model. I'm not really buying that, to be honest with you. I mean, I'm not saying it's impossible. Let's see what the other models suggest. The HFSB suggests at this time, so this is for 2 a.m. This is 8 p.m. your guys' time here. Showing maybe 90 to 100 mile per hour gusts more for the areas there just east of, what is that here? I have a hard time pronouncing some of these names. I do apologize for that. But anyways, but for more of the upper central portions of the island here, possibly like 90 to 100 gusts. That's pretty crazy. Anyways, but as far as, let's see here, the HMON model goes, it's good to definitely compare models here overall. Apparently, yeah, the HMON does not have that. Let me try HWRF here. I guess HWRF doesn't have it either. So yeah, anyways, that's the wind gust here according to that overall. Let's see here. Wow, 90 mile per hour winds is crazy. Hope everyone stays safe. Got to go. All right, sounds good, Crystal. Thanks for joining, friend. Appreciate it. Let's see. That's why the winds are show way higher. Oh yeah, no, they're definitely pretty crazy out here. Oh my goodness, Sniper! Thank you so much, friend, for the $10 super chat. I really appreciate ya. Thank you so much, Saint. Aloha. Thanks for the intel. What's my expectations for the wind right here in beach south of House on the Beach? Just need a little peace of mind. Thank you so much, friend. Let me go ahead and copy this for you. We're going to go ahead and switch over here for you. Thank you so much, dude. That is so sweet of you. That is super sweet of you. So yeah, you're over here. Tell me if this is right. You're kind of right in this area here for the far western side of the islands here. So we do have a tropical storm warning in effect here. We're not going to be feeling those hurricane conditions per se. As far as the rainfall totals go, we are talking anywhere between 2 to 4 to 4 to 6 inches, because you're right there on that boundary here between 2 to 4 to 4 to 6. I mean, we're definitely going to be seeing a pretty good amount here of a pretty good amount of rainfall out there overall. So definitely still a flooding concern. Now you see they did say isolated amounts up to 8 inches. 8 inches here overall. So we are talking the potential here for some pretty some pretty high-end flooding potential. I mean, even 8 inches of rain is pretty crazy. I mean, not near comparison to the 25 inches we're seeing on the Big Island, but still isolated amounts up to 8 inches is possible, considering those low-lying spots and rolling down those hills and stuff like that. So that's a bit of a concern. That's the main concern. Surges out there, we are talking 1 to 2 foot above sea level. So basically, that saltwater flooding, a lot of that water is going to be pushing inland here, in which we're going to see that water level rise by 1 to 2 feet above normal. So that's the saltwater flooding. If you add that freshwater flooding here, like we had talked about here with the, the heavy rain and stuff like that, we do have that going on too. So please be careful out there, friend. I tell you what, we are going to hop over here. We are going to take a look back over here to the models. Now, I do want to take a look at the winds here for you too. I know you didn't ask for it, but I do want to pull this up. I just kind of want to give you the full view of what you could see. So this is according to the HAFSA model, and the peak of the event is going to be really here for tomorrow. This is showing for 5 p.m. So this would be, let's see here, this would be 11 o'clock a.m. tomorrow morning. Is probably when you're going to be seeing some of the peak, of the event here overall. Now, it looks like we could be seeing some of those gusts here upwards to maybe 40 to 50 miles per hour. You can see this model shows like 48 miles per hour here overall. This is one piece of the puzzle like we had talked about here overall. Let's see, HAFSB model here suggests maybe it happening a little bit earlier, but still maybe upper 40s to 50 mile per hour wind gusts. So that's what the winds could peak to, just for, just a few given moments here. But anyways, that's what we got going on there, friends. So just look out for tropical storm force conditions. I mean, like we mentioned, regardless, a lot of rain is going to be associated here. So that is that. Oh my goodness, Anthony! Thank you so much, dude, for the $10 super chat as well. Huge shout out goes both to Sniper as well as Anthony. Thank you so much, guys. Y'all are absolutely amazing. I'm going to go leave likes for you guys as well. Thank you all. If you guys could in the chat, please give Anthony and Sniper a big thank you. I really appreciate the support. Saying thanks for the coverage. You are very welcome. It's like I said, it's my pleasure, you guys. Thank you all seriously for the support. You guys help make this possible. I really, really appreciate you guys from the bottom of my heart. Thank you all so much here. Let's see. Potato says, what I find interesting is some of the models show like 30 plus inches, especially in the earlier models. That's why it's related to water running down in mountains. So what I was talking about earlier, Potato, so the models, I mean, yeah, they do show, some of them probably show a little bit more than the 25 that's expected, or isolated up to 25 that's expected here for the eastern side of the Big Island. So like we had talked about, this is over an even terrain, if you think about it. So just imagine a flat plane here that we could see isolated amounts of 25 inches. So that water level rises up 25 inches. The problem here is since this, or of course, Hawaii is very mountainous, and for the Big Island, it's just a big mountain. So basically, that 25 inches that would be on a flat plane is tilted. So a lot of that water is going to run down. You got to imagine that's 25 inches for that whole area. And so what really is going to happen is that's going to roll down the mountain and it's going to puddle up on the bottom portion of the island here. And for those coastal areas, I mean, they're going to be getting a lot of water coming off there. So with that being said, I mean, there is just going to be a lot of water building up for those areas there. So you got to think, if it was a flat plane, 20 up to 25 inches here of rain, with that tilt to it, a lot of that's going to run down the mountains, and it's going to be probably over a couple of feet in some areas out there on the lower portion. That's the biggest concern. That's the biggest concern here. Let's see. Aloha, watching from South. I'm terrible with names. I do apologize. Any guesses on how it might impact zip code? Gotcha. I got you, friend. Let me go ahead and pull this up here for you. But hello, friend, and please stay safe out there. Let's head on over here to your zip code, friend. You are in. Oh, you're not far from Honolulu. Okay, so we do have tropical storm warnings in effect here. We are not really expecting the full-blown hurricane conditions here as far as the winds go. We will be seeing some wind gusts, I'd say between 40, maybe 50 mile per hour wind gusts, what they could peak up to is what the models kind of suggested here. As far as rainfall goes, you're kind of in the margin of 2 to 4 inches of rain. We could have some isolated amounts, so some local areas could get upwards to 8 inches of rainfall, which we are talking a pretty good amount. You're not far, though, from that 4 to 6 inch margin here across the yellow. So, but regardless, yeah, flooding is going to be a big concern even for you guys out there, so keep an eye out there for that. Especially if you're in a low-lying spot and all that stuff. I mean, that is going to be a big concern. There's going to be the flooding. So for the surges, for everybody except for the Big Island, we were talking 1 to 2 foot of storm surge. So that water level is going to be 1 to 2 foot above that normal amount here, in which we are going to be seeing a lot of surges, still for, like I said, for all the islands here, of course. But for you, it's 1 to 2 foot. So thankfully with this event, the surging, I mean, it could be a whole lot worse. But like we had talked about, I mean, this is still a concern. This is still a heavy impact for some of these areas in which we're talking 1 to 2 foot. So because those winds are so strong and they're kind of pushing that water into the coastal areas, it's going to rise that water level, causing some swelling of about 1 to 2 foot above where it normally would be. So that's going to be higher than usual, which could lead to some flooding. Not to mention with that fresh water, the heavy stumble on my words here. That heavy rainfall, coming down the mountains here is going to lead up onto those coastal areas there too. So anyways, but that's kind of what we're talking about here. As far as the winds and all go, like we had talked about, the models really suggest some of the heaviest of the winds here, pretty much being here for the early morning tomorrow for you guys. It seems like right around 2 o'clock a.m. Actually, honestly, pretty earlier. Later this evening, actually. Yes, actually starting later this evening, going into tomorrow morning. So we're going to have quite a bit of winds out there, and it should really start to go down here as we go into basically the afternoon tomorrow. It should kind of start to calm down a little bit here as far as the winds go. But yeah, definitely is going to be quite windy. So stay safe out there, friends. If you have any questions, and this goes for everybody, please do not hesitate to ask here. Let's see here. Pizza says, can I check on the velocities? Let's see, for Volcano to Fern Forest. I got you, friend. I think I know where this is at. I don't think I need the zip code here. Let's see, Volcano to Fern Forest, right between here. Okay. Yeah, let me go ahead and pull up our current radar. I was going to do that anyways here, so let's switch on over to the radar. I am going to grab an estimated velocity here. which we're going to do now. So according to the radar, now this is, once again, about 1,000 to 2,000 feet up from the radar here. We are seeing those velocities here of about 40 to 50, maybe up to 60 mile per hour winds. Now, remember, this is a couple thousand feet up, but eventually, those winds will be towards those elevations there. You can see right here, it looks like that the beam is being blocked here by the mountains. As you can see, it only covers half of, or this half of the island here, but yeah, it looks between anywhere from like 30 to 50 mile per hour winds out there. So that's as of the latest velocities that we are seeing here. So, but yeah, hopping back over to reflectivity here, back on the current radar here of the system. So this is the beast itself. As you can see, we are seeing, a pretty nasty storm here, but you can see there's where the core of the storm is here currently. At this point, we're seeing a lot of those mid bands, those middle bands really plummeting across the southern side here of the tip of Hawaii, in which that is definitely starting. Those conditions are definitely starting to deteriorate out there. In which as we get closer and closer, the system is working northwest here. As we get closer and closer, those inner bands will really start to kind of brush up against the southern tip here of the Big Island here. In which at that point, that's when we're going to have some of the heaviest of the impacts here. I tell you what, and something that we did not do. What I am going to do here is I am going to bring up our hurricane hunters. This is something that we haven't done yet on the stream. Surprisingly, we should have done this a while back. Let's go and bring up our hurricane hunters here. We don't, apparently we do not have any latest. Okay, they flew from, it looks like they brought the plane back here with the Air Force 302. They did a mission here, and then they flew it back to California, it looks like. Yeah, okay. Let me try the NOAA Hurricane Hunters here. This was a mission that they did. Actually, it looks like they're heading back now, if I'm not mistaken. Or, you know what? This was a while ago. I tell you what, let's bring up the Tropical Tidbits view. This is what I've always used here. It looks like we actually do have a mission. Yeah, that's the one that's going back to California. I think they might be. I don't know if they're done with it or not, but I don't think we really have anything going on right now as far as the mission. So yeah, I guess this is the latest one that we do have here. So it's been a little bit since we've had the hurricane hunters actually go out there from what it looks like. But, the latest pressure here, I will show you guys this. The latest pressure from the Hurricane Center that we have on Lala is 988 millibars. And this was as of 12 p.m. local to Hawaii. This is 12 p.m. HST. So this would have been 6 p.m. my time. Okay, this is pretty recent. This is pretty recent. See, Lala continues to bring heavy rainfall and gusty winds to the Big Island of Hawaii. Let's see here, 12 o'clock p.m. HST update here. So this is the newest update we have. Like we mentioned, yeah, the storm's still moving northwest at 8 miles per hour currently. Central low down to 988 millibars, which, like we mentioned, the lower the pressure, the stronger the storm. 988 is typical for, a Category 1 hurricane. Sustained winds of 75 miles per hour here overall. So that is what we got going on there. Let's see, latest rainfall potential. Yeah, they still have the same maps here. Yeah, they haven't updated anything on the WPC or surge maps or anything like that. Let me check the cone here. Well, this is the position update here. This is at 11 a.m. HST, so this is still a little bit outdated here. At this point, the majority of the Big Island is in that estimated tropical storm force wind field here. And then, of course, we do have the hurricane force winds here across the red region there. So, yeah, you can see that's where the tropical storm force winds of 39 to 74 sustained winds are at here, is across the yellow. And, of course, the hurricane is that 75 sustained there that we have there. So, this was as of 11 o'clock, so they haven't updated the position. The storm is more like right in here at this point. And, of course, that wind field is likely covering a lot of, pretty much, I'd say at this point, majority, if not the whole of the Big Island is in that estimated tropical storm force wind right now. So, but, yep, still is a hurricane. Still is a Category 1 here as of the latest update and all that stuff. So, let's see, when is it expected to make landfall? So it is going to make its closest approach here. It was supposed to be here at 8 o'clock Eastern, 2 o'clock p.m. Central, 2 o'clock p.m. Hawaii time. I'm used to talking about the mainland, so I do apologize, but no, this is for 2 o'clock p.m. your guys' time is, I would say, is when we're expecting the closest approach here with that system here overall. So, let's see. Enlighten says, "Am I going to do the plane simulator and find a hurricane like I used to in the past?" Not right now. Probably, I don't know. I haven't done that in a while. I have to get my VR and all that hooked up and stuff like that. I think now we're just going to do coverage and all that stuff. Maybe in the future with other systems, but probably not with this one now. Let's see. See, I'm now a new subscriber. Oh, thank you for subscribing, Aloha. Appreciate it. Yeah, guys, if you can, consider subscribing if you haven't already. Maybe consider leaving a like here, too. It'd be much appreciated, y'all. Thank you so much for all the kind love and support. Much love to you guys. Yeah, if you guys could, that would be much appreciated. But thank you so much, Aloha, saying that we already have strong gusts. I can't imagine any stronger. We have low-hanging telephone poles everywhere. Just a matter of time before we lose power. Well, stay safe out there, Aloha. Please, just be careful with the storm. Hopefully that you've prepped and prepared for the system. And like I said, I'm gonna have my prayers out for you guys. Well, like I said, I'm gonna do my best here. I'm gonna do my best to keep y'all up to date here for a while with this system, and do my best to just kind of let you all know what's going on here. But once again, thank you for subscribing, friend. I appreciate it, and it means the world to me, guys. Thank you all so much for the kind love and support. You guys are absolutely amazing. All right, so let's hop back over here, y'all, to the satellite imagery. We haven't pulled up the sat imagery here in a minute, so we're going to go ahead and do that here now. So let's go ahead and pull up the satellite imagery. We're going to go and pull up the Goes West Mesoscale Floater 2. We're going to go bring up our geo color here. So this is basically the visible satellite here. Kind of what you would see the storm looking like if you were in space, looking down at the Earth here. This is what you would kind of see here according to this. So here you go. Here's the latest satellite imagery, as you can see. I mean, definitely completely overcast for the Big Island here. It's really starting to become quite overcast out there by like Maui and those areas too. You can still see some breaks in the clouds, especially out there in those water areas here, just off the coast. There's some breaks in the clouds. Some of those outer bands are hitting those areas here. But yeah, definitely is very dense cloud cover over the Big Island at this particular moment here. And you can see the core of the storm's right in here. I know it's kind of hard to make out, but yeah, there's the core of the storm. We did have a little bit of clearing a little bit ago. This was at 3 o'clock Eastern time. So this would have been, I think 9 o'clock. Yeah, 9 o'clock a.m. your guys' time here. But anyways, we do have ourselves, a little bit of clearing there you can see, which wasn't really quite the eye, but you can see it's now been completely covered up here. But definitely looking pretty nasty here, as you can see. It is working ever so closely to Hawaii here. If I do bring this up to the infrared view, this is the let's see, did I do Goes 19 Meso 2? Or did I do? Oh, I did Goes East. Whoops. Goes West Meso 2 IR. That's what I want to do here. There we go. Yeah, so here's the, the infrared view showing you where a lot of the heaviest convection, a lot of the heavy storm activity is within the storm. You can see that a lot there towards those, towards the core of the storm here. I mean, I would say the eye wall, but there really is no eye in the storm. But where the eye wall would be, right there on the core, you can see that there's definitely some pretty heavy convection going on here with that system here. In which, we're definitely seeing some pretty heavy convection going on. Now, this is, once again, working its way closer and closer as we speak to Hawaii. So it is we're still a little bit a ways away from the heaviest of those impacts here, as of right now. So, but anyways, that's what the current satellite here looks like as of right now. Switching back over here into the radar view. Let's go ahead and pull up the radar. So yeah, this is what we got going on here as far as the latest radar scan goes. I mean, you can see, once again, there's the core, there's the center of that storm. If you look closely, so here is the edge of the Big Island. So this is the Big Island here, and you can see that there is the center of the storm right now. Now, the track of this thing is moving in this direction. So at this point, I mean, it's basically, I think that the center, the main middle part of the storm is just going to skim by just to the south of the Big Island here. But the problem is, though, is not in the center. This is actually where the winds calm down quite a bit, is in the center of the storm. The strongest winds are felt on the edges of the storm there. So right in here is where those strongest winds are going to be felt. Now, those winds here And, those part of the storms will actually likely brush through the southern side of the Big Island here, which is going to be out there by like Ocean View and stuff like that. We're probably going to see some pretty, we're probably going to see some pretty heavy winds and stuff like that in a little bit. And like we talked about the models and all, they were suggesting that, we could be seeing those winds. I mean, basically, pretty much 80 to 90 mile per hour wind gusts as far as what the winds could peak to here overall. So anyways, hopping back on over here, you guys, back to the rainfall potential. Like we had talked about, there is definitely a lot of rain coming in with this storm here. I mean, overall, this is how much we are expecting here from this system. I mean, we're definitely seeing a lot of, heavy rainfall out of this system, and that is by far the biggest concern here. It's not the winds that's the biggest concern, which that is a big concern itself, but the biggest concerns is, of course, the flooding. Now, like we had talked about here for the eastern side of the Big Island, we're talking isolated amounts, so some areas could pick up to 25 inches of rainfall, in which, to put in perspective, that's over 2 foot of rain. And like we mentioned, over a flat plain, 25 inches of rain coming up on a flat plain, you can imagine that's 25 inches deep. That's pretty deep itself. But if you add that tilt to the islands here of Hawaii, which is a big mountain, all that water is going to run down the mountain and end up on those coastal areas, which is only going to rise that water level even up higher. Not to mention, with the storm surge and stuff like that we're seeing here, the surges are on the lower side. They are fairly mild for a typical tropical system, but still, I mean, there is surges here, 1 to 3 foot above normal. And so that's the salt water coming in, that saltwater flooding, that basically the strong winds pushing that seawater inland, causing it to rise up quite a bit, about 1 to 3 foot. And then, like we had talked about here, once again, with all that water running down from all this heavy rainfall here. So, yeah, so dark red, 16 to 20 inches expected. The red, 12 to 16 inches. Here for the orange, we're talking 8 to 12. Now, this does include areas in eastern Maui, as we've determined here, as you can see. So we could see up to 8 to 12 inches. I mean, maybe even locally higher amounts being possible for some of those areas there, too. So, yeah, 8 to 12 inches is expected for those areas. For the yellow, the dark yellow, we're talking 6 to 8 inches here, 4 to 6 across the yellow, 2 to 4 across the dark green, and 1 to 2 here across the light green here. So, just a bit of a heads up there overall. Let's see here. Oh my goodness, Katie, thank you so much for the $5 on Cash App, friend. That is really, really sweet of you. Thank you so much, Katie. You are absolutely awesome. Huge shout out goes to you. Thank you so much for the support, guys. Thank you once again, seriously, for everybody who has donated and supported us directly. Like I mentioned, you guys make this possible. I really do appreciate it. It helps pay for the bills and stuff like that. So I really thank you all. This allows me to do what I love to do and keep you guys up to date and everything like that. This allows me to do these streams. So thank you so much, Katie. Once again, thank you for the 5, friend. I really appreciate it. But yeah, so that is what we are seeing here. With this system. Now, I'll tell you what, I am going to hop back over here to the spaghetti models here. We're going to go ahead and load up the latest spaghettis to kind of see what we're talking about here now. So if we pull up our ensembles, we're going to pull up the Lala here. We're going to load all of these, all of this data here. So this is from the latest guidance that we have. So let's go ahead and load up all of these. I think we are on the latest guidance here overall. So yeah, you can see that majority at this point, the majority of those models does suggest, that center of the storm to just remain south. Let's actually go ahead and turn off the hover thing here. Yeah, so just remaining relatively just south of the Big Island of Hawaii. So at this point, the center going directly over the Big Island is unlikely, I'd say. But like I mentioned, regardless of what it does, I mean, we are going to be seeing some, heavy, heavy impacts expected anyways. But you can see, the majority of the models have the core, the center of that storm kind of remaining in this area here, with the majority kind of right in the middle here. That's where the greatest potential is overall. So, that's where the center is going to be. But like we talked about here before, the edges of that storm here, is going to be on the south side. Yeah, Benz, I see your comment about the tornado warning in Kentucky, but like I said, we're not doing coverage on the U.S. today, the mainland U.S. Today, I'm spending the whole day just focused on Hawaii because, yeah, they really need the coverage here. Like we talked about, we have a pretty nasty tropical system going on right now. But yeah, we're not going to be really talking about much of the mainland here for today, unfortunately. We're mainly focusing on this here for now. Okay, so let's head on back over here, you all. One thing I do want to actually pull up here, once again, for tropical systems, is that sea surface temperature. So for tropical systems, you really want those waters to be 26 Celsius and greater. Like we had talked about here, as far as the sea surface temperatures go and all. I mean, the waters out here are still very, very warm. Which we're talking, 26 to 28 degrees Celsius, those waters. So the system is definitely in some warm waters, and all on the forecast track for this system. I mean, it's supposed to be in warm enough waters, like we had talked about with the the precipitation and all that stuff with this system here too. I mean, we're definitely seeing a lot of moisture on this system. Like if we bring back up our precipitable water here, we go to precipitation and all. This really kind of shows us just how much moisture is in the atmosphere. PWatt values of 2 to 3 inches or so is very high amounts of moisture. PWatt of even 1.5 is considered a decent amount of moisture here. In which you can see, I mean, this system, there is a lot of moisture associated with the system here overall, in which, we're not really expecting any dry air or anything like that to really kind of infiltrate this system. You can see this is for 2 p.m. Eastern on the 17th. So this would be here for 9 o'clock, maybe? Or hold on a minute. No, this would be for 8 o'clock. 8 o'clock a.m. on the 17th for you guys in Hawaii. You can see that the PWatt values are a little bit lower on the western side of the storm here. A little bit more drier air here, but you can see that, a lot of this is in that green and blue, which is showing rich moisture. But, where we stand now, there's definitely a lot of moisture here with this system overall. I mean, there's definitely a lot of moisture with it, which is allowing for there to be, that big flooding concern like we've been talking about here. So, anyways, I want to head back to radar here, guys. I do want to go ahead and pull up the... estimated rainfall that we've already seen here with the system. Now, take this with a grain of salt. This is one particular, this is the radar basically just saying that, this is what we are seeing here. It's an estimation, by the way. So if we do pull the total storm precipitation here, now according to the radar here, it looks like we've already picked up maybe 8, 9, near 10 inches of rain or so. Near like Volcano, just kind of west of Fern Forest here. I mean, we're definitely seeing estimates of a pretty good amount of rain that's already fallen out there. Up by Hilo, we are seeing about 3, maybe 4 inches of rain that's already fallen out there according to the radar estimates here. Which, once again, this is an estimation. This is not a approximation here, but definitely have seen quite a bit. But yeah, it seems like a lot of the heaviest is out by Volcano, Fern Forest as of now. And like we talked about, we're going to be seeing some amounts up to 25 inches of rain here with this system, which is just that's just a lot of rain here overall. So here for the southern side of the Big Island, we are talking a little bit of about maybe 3-4 inches or so, maybe 5 inches of rain that's already fallen. So it's definitely coming down, and like we talked about, there's definitely a lot more to come here. And so we do need to just still kind of monitor that here. Now, as far as hopping back over here to those total rainfalls here, this is the latest guidance here from the Weather Prediction Center that we do have here. We are talking isolated amounts of rain up to 25 inches here for the eastern side of the Big Island of Hawaii, which we are talking up to 2 foot of rainfall here. For the dark red, we're talking 16 to 20 inches of rain. The normal red here, the bright red, we're talking 12 to 16. The orange, 8 to 12. The dark yellow, 6 to 8. The yellow, 4 to 6. The dark green, 2 to 4. And the light green, 1 to 2. And like we talked about, isolated amounts here for a lot of the islands, a lot of the central islands, up to 8 inches is possible in some of those areas. Now, for a lot of areas after about like Honolulu, after about like Maui, actually Maui's a little bit higher here. We are seeing a lot of a lot of rainfall potential. Isolated amounts up to 8 inches for a lot of these areas. Once again, the yellow being 4 to 6, and that covers a lot of those central islands here of Hawaii. So, anyways, but yeah, they did basically mention here that we could have maximum totals up to 25 inches of rain here across eastern Maui. 8 to 12 inches expected with totals of 4 to 6. Let's see, maximum amounts of 8 inches across western Maui and the remainder of the island chain here. This rain will produce life-threatening flooding and mudslides. So that is another thing we talked about here is the mudslide concern. Just the sheer volume of water that we're seeing in this system. Like I mentioned, that's going to create a big mudslide concern. It's going to really saturate and loosen up that ground, and there is going to be that mudslide concern there. Let's see here, especially in areas of steep terrain. For the list of rainfall observations, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, so basically we're just, that's pretty much what the latest WPC has to say. As far as the surges go, like we talked about, storm surge, we are expecting 1 to 3 foot above normal level across the Big Island. So once again, that's because that those strong winds are pushing that water against the coastal areas, and that is allowing for the water level to rise 1 to 3 foot above normal. So, with that being said, yeah, we're definitely seeing a little bit of a surge concern here too. So a bit of saltwater flooding there for those coastal areas, with that water level being 1 to 3 foot higher. And then for the remainder of the islands, we are seeing 1 to 2 foot of surges, so 1 to 2 foot above normal. But like I said, that does not take into consideration the freshwater rainfall that we're seeing here, the freshwater flooding that we're talking about here overall. I mean, between the coastal flooding and of course the heavy rainfall here too, we are definitely talking a pretty good amount here of a pretty good amount here of that overall here. So anyways, but yeah, you guys please stay safe out there. Like I said, we're going to continue to give you guys coverage here for a while today. I wanted to be here and I wanted to stream this for quite a while because I want to make sure, I can keep you guys up to date here with that system and all. So I tell you what we're going to do. I am going to head over here back to the satellite imagery. We're going to switch back to long wave IR here. I keep going to the mesofloater 2 here in the eastern U.S. Let's go, goes west. And we'll do, let's see here, mesofloater 2. We'll do long. Actually, let's do geocolor again here. I do want to pull up the water vapor here as well here in a moment, so we'll take a look at that. But yeah, you can see that there's a big density here of, really big density of cloud cover across a lot of the Big Island of Hawaii. Now starting to go over Maui and everything like that here too. So that is starting to pick up here quite a bit. Yeah, move my curtain so I can block the AC because I'm getting blasted here by my AC. It's a little cold. But yeah, we are seeing, a lot of cloud cover over a lot of these eastern islands at this point. Still quite a bit of breaks in clouds here. I mean, out there by Honolulu, it looks like there is a little bit of breaks in clouds. Mostly cloudy here for the most part, but we do have a little bit of that going on here. So anyways, let's see. What's up, Mark? Good to see you. Say West Virginia heat is exhausting. Side note, Andrew Chow. Good to see you, friend. Hope you're doing well. Yeah, you guys have been getting pretty warm out there. A lot of people have been dealing with a lot of the heat here in the main states. Let's see. Potato says, I've been doing the same thing. I don't know why the West and East keep confusing me. Yeah, it happens. The problem with me is that I clicked on the mesofloater 2 because there's 2 satellites. We use goes east and goes west. Goes east, mesofloater 2 is a specific area that it focuses on. It keeps bringing me back to the mainland. But we need to look at goes to west, which is a mesofloater here on this tropical system here overall. But anyways, but yeah, you can definitely see a lot of that cloud cover really starting to pile in here. If we play this in motion here, which we'll go ahead and do, you can see earlier there was a bit of a clearing here where the center of that storm was. As you can see, we'll show y'all right here. You can see that there is a bit of a clearing in where the eye of that storm would be, but there is no visible eye at this point. I mean, if you can see where we are right now, it's just a big blob of clouds. So, but like we mentioned, it doesn't have to have an eye to be classified as a hurricane. So just a bit of a heads up to that, just so y'all know. No, it is still a hurricane. Like I said, it is sustaining 75 mile per hour winds currently, which we'll go ahead and bring up the cone here too. Yeah, so right now the cone, this is where we are now. It is showing us at, 75 sustained. We're gusting up to 90 miles per hour here overall. Now, the center of the storm is a little bit further east than that marker is, a little bit further west than that marker is. So the center is right in here at this point here. In fact, let me actually overlay the radar, and you can actually see that. So there is the center right in here. And if we do play the radar and the satellite imagery together, which we can do, you can really see this in the perspective here overall. So, I mean, we are definitely getting closer to the southern tip of Hawaii, really feeling some of those inner bands of the system here, which, yeah, these are some of those inner bands in this area here. And that's honestly where a lot of the strongest of the winds are going to be felt here. It's going to be felt really in a lot of these areas here. In which, that is, since the storm is moving northwestward, that is going to be working its way here towards, of course, the Big Island overall. So, yeah, you guys are really going to be feeling those winds here pretty soon. I mean, I'm sure you guys are already really starting to feel them, of course, but definitely really going to pick up a little bit more according to, what a lot of the models do suggest and kind of what we're seeing here on the observations and all. Speaking of observations, I do want to bring up some ASOS stations to here. We do have some reports here of some pretty strong winds coming in here. Let's actually hop back over here. So we do have reports out there for Maui, for the western side of the island of Maui here. We are seeing some gusts up to 43 as of right now. Pressure down into, pressure is definitely dropping down to 1,009 right now. It looks like the temperature is in the, it looks like the lower 80s here for the most part. So pretty typical. But yeah, we are seeing those, the wind speeds here currently at about 25 to 30, and we're gusting more upwards to 40. It looks like we had a gust up to, what was it, 48 miles per hour a little bit ago. This was at, does it really say? This is 6, I don't really think it shows when, but that, yeah, it was just not too long ago. We had those strong wind reports out there, but, oh, here we go. Now it shows. This is showing 2054 UTC. So this was about 2 hours ago or so. But yeah, definitely starting to see some pretty strong winds coming through. Out there just northwest of Honolulu, out there by, let's see here. How do you say that? Kunia Camp? I'm probably saying that wrong. It looks like we're gusting about 27 out here as of right now. So winds are, I mean, still definitely not up to strongest quite yet for you guys here. Yeah, we are seeing gusts. I mean, I am seeing gusts actually of 33 out here from this ASOS station. So regardless, yeah, definitely seeing some pretty strong winds out there. So we're going to keep an eye on those here. But out there by Hilo, like we had talked about, yeah, right now we're gusting about 28. It looks like we did have a gust a little bit ago of, what is that, 34 we saw? Yeah, 34 miles per hour. No, that's above 34. That's like 40, 42, 43 miles per hour. Oh, yeah, max 43 there. Yeah, so we did gust up to 43 just a little bit ago out there by Hilo. So, yeah, those winds are definitely starting to really pick up. Now, thankfully, since the storm has pushed a little bit further southward, since the storm has pushed a little bit further southward, those areas up by Hilo probably aren't going to be gusting as high, of course, which is good. But still, I mean, we're going to have some strong winds, and the main thing is really the flooding, like we had talked about. We're going to be really seeing a lot of flooding here with this system. So that's really the main thing out there. That really is the main concern here. Now, I'll tell you what, we are going to bring back up the back over here to, actually, you know what we're going to do before we do this? I am going to go ahead and bring up our cone here once again. So this is what we have going on with the system, the current projections of the storm. So obviously at where we are now, the system is very, very close to the big island of Hawaii. Right now we are sustaining 75 mile per hour winds here overall, in which we are gusting upwards to 90 miles per hour. So we definitely have some pretty strong wind gusts out there. Now, the center of the storm is over here instead. So the center of the storm's right here. So we're getting pretty close, like we had talked about, to the big island here of Hawaii. And we are seeing the storm moving northwest here at 8 miles per hour. So it is moving relatively slow, which that is a problem, considering we're seeing a lot of really heavy rain of several inches per hour, falling across this area. So between that and, of course, the fact that it's moving slow and the heavy rainfall rates, that leads to a big flooding concern here. So, anyways, let's see. Any thoughts on the disturbance developing in the East Central Pacific? I heard it may develop sometime next week. Let me take a quick peek at that real quickly. Yeah, we'll hop on over here to the overall tropical outlook here. So let's do that now. Yeah, so if we pull that up here, it looks like, so obviously we have Lala over here. We do have 2 other systems we're monitoring. We also have the remainders of Hernan here, which as of right now, Hernan's not really expected to do much. In fact, it's supposed to weaken a little bit. We have disturbance 2, a 40% chance probability of overall development here in the next 7 days. This does have potential of development here, which I believe is associated with this mess here. Which we have a little bit of a potential here for development out of that. Now, for the Eastern Pacific, this one has a overall, let's see, 30% chance of development. So yeah, there is potential we could see another system develop here. So that might be something we should watch. But determining if it's going to be a concern for Hawaii or not, we could figure out real quickly, I guess. We'll hop on over here to models real fast. Let's do Central Pacific. I'm going to zoom out just a little bit. So this is the American GFS model. So obviously we have Lala right now. You know what? It does look like we have another system developing here. This is 192 hours out, which is getting to the point where it's becoming a little bit too far to look. But It does look like there could be some development with that next system here too. But as far as it going near Hawaii, it's still way too early to tell. In fact, the GFS suggests it actually weakens a bit, so we can only hope so. But yeah, as far as Lala goes, yeah, we're definitely having a lot of those heavy impacts here right now, of course. Anyways, as far as the Euro goes, I mean, it's good to compare models here, of course, like we talked about. Yeah, I mean, Euro doesn't even show that really. Yeah, Euro shows, I mean, of course, Lala rolling through. In fact, Lala is probably going to become a pretty big, pretty nasty storm further down in time because, we're heading into a shearless environment here at some point in which the storm itself will not really have really a chance to weaken because those waters are still warm, tons of moisture still with that system, and of course the shear is going to be pretty weak on that system overall. But yeah, Euro doesn't really show a whole lot either. CMC... Okay, CMC is a little bit different, actually. Yeah, CMC is by far the most aggressive, but it does keep that system south of Hawaii here as far as the latest run goes. So that's good news. And then lastly, the Icon model here. Icon shows not a whole lot, per se, but it does show that system, of course, Lala strengthening as it continues further westward. But anyways, we'll just keep it on it. I mean, obviously, if it does become anything, we'll definitely be on it, as you guys know. I'm going to be here for you all. You guys can rely on me to give you all coverage here for Hawaii because, I mean, yeah, during any tropical system, I'm going to be sure to be live here for you guys to cover this. Let's see. Seems like the eye is closed off on the radar last frame of the radar. Also, infrared also showing clearing in the center. Interesting. Let me actually look at that real quickly. Let's head back over to radar here, which we'll go ahead and do now. You said that it looks like in the latest scan that the center is closing. The eye is closed off. It does. You can see that there is this piece here. Yeah, it does look like that. We do have a pretty good because you can see that what appears to be like a little bit of a dry slot here. Where there's not much precipitation, and it seems like now that, yeah, it is kind of closed. I see what you mean by that. Absolutely. Yeah, let's take a look at the infrared view like you were talking about here, too. Let's go satellite. We'll do goes west, mesofloater 2, and long wave IR. You said it looks like there's some clearing going on. Maybe right in here. See, if we overlay the radar on top of this, though... So you can see kind of where everything is. So there's the center of that storm there. So the center is right in here. Yeah, you can see there is definitely a little bit of clearing here. Let me go to visible. I think visible is the best way to do this, or geocolor, which we'll do. Yeah, let's do that. We'll do sat mesofloater 2 geocolor, and we'll disable the radar for now. So let me go ahead and do that real quickly. Yeah, let's disable radar. That way we can kind of see directly what it looks like here. Okay, here we go. I mean, as far as it goes, I don't really see any clearing. Unless you're considering that part being the clearing, that's not a part of the center of the storm there. That's just one of the outer bands. Between bands, actually. But yeah, we have the center kind of right in here. Unless, I mean, there is a little bit more... Unless you're considering that darker area... right now, it doesn't look like it's really clearing out too much here. Let's hop back up. Let's bring back up our radar here, actually. Let's go ahead and load that back up over top of it. Yeah, so this is a direct overlay of the satellite and, radar view. Yeah, I mean, here in earlier scans, it looked like there was a little bit of clearing there, but... Anyways, every time I hear the name of this hurricane, it reminds me of the Teletubbies. Oh my gosh, yeah. Somebody said that yesterday too, and it was like, I totally forgot about that. It's been... I haven't heard of the Teletubbies in like 15 years, probably. Golly, dude. My brother used to be obsessed with that show. I never really cared for it, to be honest with you, as a kid. Yeah. Let's see here. Potato says HWRF is starting to just starting, so we may get a total precip update with one model. Yeah, maybe. I mean, we'll see what happens with them. I mean, we've been peeking at the models here a little bit here and there, which that we have been. Now, if I do play this in time, guys, here, or over time as we've been seeing, I do want to go ahead and show y'all kind of once again what we're seeing here with the system. So, with that system overall, we are having the that surge concern. I know there's some really big arrows here. I'm going to try to fix that here in a second. but basically, we do have ourselves. Here, let's make that a little bit smaller. Here, we'll go ahead and animate this. Yeah, so we have ourselves a bit of a surge concern, which is basically because of these winds are pushing inland here. This is allowing for, the system to, or basically because these strong winds are pushing towards the coast. This is allowing for that water to kind of pile up here, against against those coastal areas here. So, yeah, and because of that, like we had talked about, a lot of that water is just piling up on those coastal areas. Now, as far as the surges and all go, like we had talked about here, I mean, for the Big Island, we're talking 1 to 3 foot here overall, in which we are seeing that water level 1 to 3 foot above normal here overall. Then, of course, for the remainder of the island chain, we are seeing 1 to 2 foot of surge potential, being 1 to 2 foot above that normal level. So surges for this system are on the lower scale, thankfully, but I mean, still is a bit of a concern. Once again, the biggest concern here, this is still the latest update here from the WPC as far as rainfall goes. We are still seeing isolated amounts total up to 25 inches here for the eastern side of the Big Island. The dark red, once again, 16 to 20 inches. The red, 12 to 16. The orange, 8 to 12. Dark yellow, 6 to 8. Yellow, 4 to 6. Dark green, 2 to 4. And light green, 1 to 2 here. So out there by eastern Maui, we also have this orange here, which indicates 8 to 12 inch potential. And then for the remainder of the islands, we mainly see between 2 and 4 and 4 to 6, with isolated amounts here up to 8 inches overall. So Weatherrat says, love the analysis. See, I'm looking on infrared on tropical tidbits. It's clearing within the new center of symmetrical shape it's creating. I think it's about to strengthen more. I mean, as far as it goes from, strengthening and all, I mean, it's getting ready. I mean, some of that wind field's really starting to put pressure, or the island is really starting to put pressure on the storm's wind field here at this point. So, the center of the storm did kind of close off here with that latest scan here, as you can see, which is, a good sign for the storm itself. But, we're really going to start feeling those effects here with that. Now, the problem is like we were talking about here yesterday, the fact that this system, the fact that this storm is making that approach where instead of going directly, here, let's bring up our pin here, instead of going directly over the Big Island here, if it did that scenario where it would have went directly over the Big Island, that would have really hurt that storm big time. I mean, that whole storm would have been shredded apart by the topography here. Now, as far as it goes here too, by the center of that storm, like we talked about here, going further south, that could allow for the core to stay a little bit better intact here, which means that as it continues westward, it could be, or it's not going towards these islands, it's actually going kind of this way here. But as it continues moving westward here, I mean, it could be a little bit stronger for those other islands here. I mean, in theory. The island's topography could actually strengthen rapidly upon landfall. It can because of that lift that we have. Yeah. So basically, another thing is, I'll show you kind of an example here. Of course, Hawaii's terrain is very mountainous. So just imagine the mountains here. So basically, those winds are coming inland, and it's actually ramping off of the mountains, which is forcing that warm air that's on the ground level up into the cooler environment above. And that is going to allow for rapid condensing to occur, heavy precipitation for one, which is why we're getting such a heavy amount of rainfall. Is because, like I said, we're having a lot of that warm air ramping off the mountain into the cooler air above, which, it has a crazy reaction, which, condenses rapidly, and heavy rainfall rates and stuff like that are associated with that. So, having that could strengthen in theory. But another thing to consider, though, is, the fact that these winds are not perfectly, symmetrical per se, and the fact that, these winds are starting to be kind of cut off by the geography, that right there would allow for it to weaken. So, I mean, it's really hard to say. But regardless, I mean, there's a lot of energy being pushed on the Big Island of Hawaii right now, between the winds and, the rain and stuff like that. It's just a lot. So anyways, see, exactly, the high res models showed rapid intensification, then landing direction. Yeah, Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's possible. It's possible, and like I said, that's the big reason of why we're seeing so much rain with this system, is because of all of that that lift. All of that ramping of the warm air here into the cooler environment. Absolutely. So yeah, and that's also a big problem too, is because the geography of Hawaii. Hopping back to our flooding thread here, is very mountainous. So we have the isolated amount up to 25 inches. That would be across a flat plain. So just imagine if the island was completely flat, right? So that would fall 25 inches, and the depth would be 25 inches tall in that area, per se. That's isolated up to 25. So some areas would be up to that, mainly 16 to 20 inches tall, but, isolated up to 25. But you got to think, though, because we're on an inclination, because we're sideways, that water's going to run down, in which it's going to pile up even higher on those lower areas. So that's why I'm very concerned about this. That's why I'm really mostly concerned about the rainfall, because, I mean, even on a flat plain, 16 to 20 inches of rain is a lot of rain. But given that a lot of that's going to be rolling down the hills, down the mountain, that is going to allow for, all that water to really build up. I mean, to really build up. So, let's see here. Hurricane Center's maps are reflective also on the cone, showing it going way south. I think other islands will have more accumulation. I mean, it's possible. This is from the WPC. This is from the Weather Prediction Center that we have here. I mean, like we had talked about, though, from the current projections here from WPC, from the latest guidance we do have isolated amounts up to 8 inches on the current forecast here. I mean, like we also talked about here in eastern Maui, we do have this area here of 8 to 12 inches as well. So we do have a pretty good amount of rainfall here for eastern Maui potentially too, which, I mean, honestly, some localized amounts higher could not be, cannot be ruled out here. Let's see. Not only that, but there's two mountains that are kind of near each other, which allows a wind funneling and cause faster wind. That's true. Let's see. We're getting very heavy rainfall, 4.25 inches last hour here in Fernford. Wow. Golly, yeah, you guys have been really feeling it here. I'll tell you what, we're gonna hop back to radar estimated rainfall totals here. Let's go back here to storm total precip. Now, once again, a bit of a disclaimer. This is an estimation. This is not approximation, okay? So, according to Up by Volcano, it looks like so far we have estimations here of about maybe 9 to maybe 10 inches or so. So, that's kind of what we got going on here. Remember, this is estimated by radar here. It's not approximate. So, the totals could vary. Could be higher or lower. After by Hilo, more of like 3, maybe 4 or 5 inches or so. Let's see. Fight says I'm at 18 inches for this event so far out there in Volcano. Gotcha. Yeah, Volcano has, let's see here, as of now, about 9 inches or so, according to radar here. But remember, that's also radar. That's not a automated station or anything like that here. So it's definitely a little bit different. Let's see here. In 3 hours, we've had 12.25 inches in 3 hours. Oh, have you? Yeah, there's definitely a lot out there. That's over a foot of rain already. And, like we had talked about, there is some areas where we are expecting, up to 25 inches here, which is 2 feet. So, yeah, definitely is quite a bit. Let's say between Volcano and Fern Forest is the rainiest place on Earth normally. Yeah, I mean, I don't not believe that. I do believe that, absolutely. I mean, you guys are definitely getting quite a bit. Let's see, I would not be surprised if this produces record rainfall event, 30, 40 inches of rain. I mean, I would say it's unlikely. But we are mainly expecting, like I said, up to 25 is from what WPC says, and that's based off of, WPC algorithms and models and all kinds of stuff like that. So topography is made for extreme rain. Oh yeah, definitely. All right, I tell you what, friends, we're gonna hop back over here to the the wind speeds here. Once again, we're gonna hop back to the models here. So let's do that now. So let's head on back over here. So I do want to bring up the HAFSA model. So let's do that now. HFSA, we'll head back over here to Lala here. And we'll pull up. So these are sustained winds, by the way. These are not wind gusts here. So let's go back to surface. Let's go back to wind gusts here. So as far as that goes, I mean, as you see, as we go down in time here, let's pull up our thing here. So where we kind of stand now, I mean, current time here right now for you guys is 1:15 p.m. So right now where we do stand, we are seeing basically, I mean, some pretty strong wind gusts already likely for you guys popping off here now, across these regions here. But we're probably already seeing some of those gusts between 60, maybe 70 miles per hour. But yeah, as we go down in time, according to the latest HAFS-A model, this is very aggressive. According to this model, it shows Ocean View possibly getting up near 100 mile per hour wind gusts here. That is a possibility. I mean, I wouldn't completely rule it out. I mean, but there's not a lot of models that did suggest that from what I remember. I mean, that's crazy. Even showing some of the peaks here, some of the higher elevations of the Big Island, maybe even getting up to 110, getting up to 110 plus mile per hour wind gusts. This is what peak winds could get up to here, just for usually a few seconds, which is absolutely crazy here. Let me go ahead and bring up HAFS-B model. It's obviously good to compare models here and all. So let's go ahead and do that now. Let's go ahead and pull up HAFS-B. Yeah, definitely not nearly as crazy as the HFSA model, as you can see, but still showing those wind gusts here, maybe a good 70, maybe 80 miles per hour. I mean, some of the areas, could see well into 90 mile per hour winds, which once again, that's peak winds here overall. And that model actually has that center actually remaining fairly far to the south here overall. Now, according to other areas here, we'll go ahead and head over here towards like Honolulu. This is for 11 a.m. Eastern, so this would be here for 5 o'clock a.m. tomorrow morning for you guys in Hawaii, in which we will be seeing out to about Honolulu, probably 40 to maybe 50 mile per hour wind gusts here across, I mean, a lot of the islands here, 30 to 50, for the western side of the island here, you can see Honolulu on the eastern side, about 40, 50, the western side of the island here, about maybe 30, 40, so... definitely some pretty strong wind gusts out there overall. So then we continue further down in time here. You can see those winds are still going to be pretty heavy into the afternoon here for the 16th here overall. Things really should improve here for the morning of the 17th. That's whenever, a lot of those strong winds will be far away from Hawaii. At that point, things will start to really calm down across the state here and as it continues working its way here to the west overall. So anyways, so that is what we got going on here with that system. As of right now, let's go ahead and head on back over here, back to the surges. And also, if you guys are just tuning in, first of all, welcome. It is good to see you guys. If you haven't already, guys, please consider subscribing, maybe leaving a like here on the stream. It would be much, much appreciated. I really do appreciate y'all for hanging out with us here. And I just want to say, everybody, thank you all for, just being a part of the stream. I really do appreciate it and stuff. So, just thank you guys for all the support and all that stuff too. I can't say thank you enough here. But just, yeah, thank you. But yeah, as far as the surges go, like we had talked about for the Big Island, we're talking 1 to 3 foot of storm surge. So that's 1 to 3 foot above sea level here, as far as where that saltwater will be. So that is going to be a bit of coastal flooding because of that here. For the remainder of the islands, we're talking 1 to 2 foot of storm surge here, which is, yeah, definitely a pretty good amount of surging out here as well. I mean, it is more mild for a typical tropical cyclone, thankfully, but, still is concerns here. But, of course, the biggest concern here is that rainfall potential, where we do see isolated amounts up to 25 inches here for the eastern side of the Big Island overall. 16 to 20 inches of rain across the dark red, across the red here, 12 to 16, orange 8 to 12, the dark yellow 6 to 8, and of course we do have the yellow 4 to 6, the dark green 2 to 4. So we're definitely seeing quite a lot of rain here with this particular system here. So anyways, let's see, I really picked an inoptimal time to go to Honolulu on a 1-month vacation, huh? Oh, wow. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it is a little unfortunate, isn't it? Yeah, I mean, the good news, though, is Honolulu, I mean, you guys are going to be definitely being affected by the storm, don't get me wrong, but you guys are in less of a concern to, say, the Big Island, because the Big Island, you guys are really taking much of the brunt force from this storm here. That's where the biggest impacts are going to be for the Big Island. Like Honolulu, we're seeing more tropical storm conditions and all that stuff here, which, I mean, we're definitely seeing Still some heavy impacts like we had talked about here. But, I mean, as far as rainfall goes out there by Honolulu, we're talking about 4 to 6 inches of rain, locally up to 8 inches being possible here. So, definitely quite a bit. Potato says, the tropical setup is going to be a concerning mix of factors that makes Category 1 very intimidating and possibly very damaging. Yeah, exactly. And that's what I was saying, guys, in the past is that I just hate the amount of people who are like, it's going to be a Category 1. It's not going to be a bad storm. It's what I've seen a lot of people say that, unfortunately. And, because of that, I just really don't want you guys to underestimate the potential of these storms. Like I said, Category 1 storms, they could be really nasty. Like for this one, for an example, like we were talking about, this system here, we're talking like some gusts up to 90 to maybe even 100 mile per hour winds there on the big island of Hawaii. That is a big concern for one. But really what puts the cherry on top is the rainfall, just how much water is involved with the system, because the system, it's a pretty good sized storm for one, size of the storm really matters. How fast the storm's moving is very important too, considering the fact that we have a relatively slow moving storm and it covers a pretty good amount of areas with tons of moisture in it. Yeah, that's leading to a big flooding concern. Also, like we talked about here a little bit ago too, with the lift that we have, from a lot of that warm air just kind of being forced up on the mountains and ramped up into the air, is forcing a lot of that warm moisture-filled air into the cooler environment above, which causes it to condense and heavy rain to develop here, which is just really plummeting these areas here with a lot of rain. And, that's a big reason on why, that's one of the big reasons on why that, the eastern side of the Big Island is expecting so much rainfall out of this system. So please do not underestimate it, guys. Like I said, just because it's a Cat 1, do not assume that it's a weak storm. Seriously. I just hate to admit, how many people I've seen brush this storm off just because, oh, it's a Cat 1, it's a low-end hurricane, it's not going to do anything. No, seriously. Or I've seen people say, I've lived here for 50 years and I have never seen a Category 1 cause any damage, blah, blah, blah. A bunch of excuses, honestly. And, like we talked about, not all storms are the same. This one is a relatively slow-moving storm, a relatively good-sized storm, dumping a lot of rain. That's the biggest concern. It's not how strong those winds are is the biggest concern, which that is a big concern itself. But biggest concern here is really the flooding threat. That's the biggest concern that we have here as of right now. Anyways, let's see. All that rain that's dumping on the slump form of volcano. Yeah, a lot of it is because of that, that warm air lifting up into the cooler environment, like we had talked about here. Anyways, but let's head back over here to the to the cone here. I do want to go ahead and hop on over here real quickly. I do want to bring you all here to the latest cone that we have. So right now, like we talked about on the current, the latest update that we have here from the Hurricane Center, the storm right now is, sorry, my desk moved here. It's a little unstable, as you can kind of tell, but it works. Anyways, but the current storm right now, we are sustaining 75 mile per hour winds. So what that means is that we're having constant winds towards the core of that storm, towards the middle of that storm here, about 75 miles per hour. Now, we are seeing some gusts right about now, about up to 90 miles per hour. So we are seeing some strong peak winds, typically only lasting a few seconds. Up to 90 miles per hour here overall. So, storm, like we talked about, is moving northwest here at 8 miles per hour, which I'll go and pull up here for you. If we hop back to the main page here, the storm is moving, northwest at 8 miles per hour here, in which, definitely is relatively slow moving. It could be a lot slower, of course. It's moving at a relatively slow pace here. Central pressure is down to 988 millibars, like we had talked about here, and those heavy rain bands, like we mentioned, are spreading across the Big Island, which we're really starting to feel the big effects of the system. So, on the forecast track, as we approach here into basically 8 o'clock p.m., we are expecting a decent amount of weakening of the storm to occur. As you can see, the National Hurricane Center has the storm being downgraded to a tropical storm here for, as you can see, probably earlier than this, but they show it here down to 60 mile per hour sustained here at let's see, 8 o'clock p.m. local here to Hawaii. So that will be sustaining 60 mile per hour winds, gusting up to 70 at that point in time. As we go into, later tomorrow morning here for 8 o'clock a.m. on the 16th, we will be seeing the storm sustaining 50 mile per hour winds here, and we will be gusting upwards more towards 65 here overall. So that's what we got going on here. And then, of course, continuing westward into 8 p.m. on the 16th for you guys. For your guys' time here, the system will be sustaining 50, gusting 65. And we just continue working westward at that point. The system is expected to re-strengthen farther down in time, in which it is expected to become a Category 1 storm here, sustaining 75, gusting up to 90 as we do approach here into the later morning, right around 8 o'clock a.m., here for the 19th here overall. So that's kind of what we're talking about here as far as the timing goes. So right now we're kind of at the worst of it, which is, while we're live, obviously I wanted to be here during a lot of the live coverage, or during the heaviest amounts of the storm here, the heaviest parts of the storm here. So anyways, but they did cancel that flash flood warning, it looks like. That's no longer in effect, but that does not mean that flooding is over, of course. I mean, flooding is really just beginning, but wouldn't be surprised if they end up adding more to that here in a little bit. But yeah, we can see where the center is now here. Here's the radar imagery. You can see right there, there's the center of the storm. It is barreling its way here to the towards the northwest here, as you can see. At this point in time, honestly, the southern tip of Hawaii out there by Ocean View, I'm sure you guys are really starting to feel this storm here now. As you can see, I mean, a lot of those inner bands here are actually starting to approach the southern tip here of the Big Island at the current moment. So, yeah, I mean, you guys are really starting to feel this more than likely. Not to mention all this heavy rain that's going on here. And like we mentioned, the storm's going to just continue pushing northwest here. And we're just going to continue to have a bombardment of rainfall with this system. I mean, like I mentioned, this is a very saturated storm. There is a lot of moisture on this storm. And also what's going on at this moment here now, too, is, all the storm surge, with my arrows that we still have here. You can see that, all of those strong winds are pushing at the coast right now. And what that is doing is that is actually pushing the water itself further inland, which is causing some coastal flooding, and we are seeing surges here for the whole Big Island of Hawaii. We're talking surges of 1 to 3 foot above sea level, meaning that water level is going to be up by 1 to 3 foot. That's just based off of salt water, just from the strong winds pushing inland here in overall here. So now, as far as the rainfall goes, as we had talked about here too, that's where we are seeing that biggest concern there, because we're also seeing up to 2 foot of rain falling on the eastern side of the Big Island of Hawaii, which is going to run down the mountain here, and which is going to end up there towards the coastal areas, which is going to lead to some big flooding. So Weather Rat says, let's see, the track is literally perfect for extreme rainfall to continue for many more hours. Oh, yeah. I mean, apparently it's already pretty bad out there for you guys where you're at now. I mean, you guys have already seen quite a bit of, heavy rains and stuff like that. And, I mean, yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's already pretty nasty for you. I tell you what, I am going to bring up the Mesonet stations here. This is the live weather stations that we have. Just to kind of see where we stand, where we are right now in terms of that. According to current observations here, so we have a station in Hilo, which is kind of on the northeastern side of the Big Island here. It looks like that pressure is about 1,010 millibars. It looks like we are having some sustained winds, maximum of 26 out there, and it looks like we are gusting about 43 as of the latest guidance here. So 43 mile per hour winds has been observed out there for Hilo as of right now. Now, unfortunately, we don't have many stations down here for the southern side. We do have this station here, which is showing some gusts up to 56 just a little bit ago. This is at 2023 UTC. So this was a little bit ago, of course, at this point. So we have had that. Apparently, so this one says gusting to 111. I don't know if I believe that or not. Because, like I mentioned, this is a ROS station, which, I mean, isn't really the best. But, I mean, you can see that shows 111 mile per hour winds there, which, like I said, I don't know if I buy. This one also shows 111 for some reason there, too. Yeah, I'm not too sure if I buy this, to be quite honest with you. But anyways, that is observations apparently from what we have seen. So I mean, there's definitely some really strong winds here going on. This shows 109 mile per hour wind gusts in northwestern parts of the Big Island, which, like I said, I really don't believe that. That's why I'm really just kind of going off the ASOS stations here. Out there by Honolulu, just kind of west of Honolulu here, we have gusts up to 18. It looks like our maximum wind gust was up to 35 a little bit ago. So that is what we have going on there as far as current observations and all that stuff here. Let's see, northeast of Honolulu here on the northeastern side of the island, we are seeing max winds up to 33. So yeah, we're still kind of subtropical storm force. Speaking of, let's head back on over here to the current estimated wind field of those tropical storm conditions here. So you're going to see a big yellow bubble here, which this is a little bit outdated. This is as of... let's see here. This was issued at 11 a.m. HST, so this was a while ago. So right now it's 1:30 your guys' time, I believe. 1:30 p.m. for you guys. For me, it's 7:30 in the afternoon for me, or the evening for me. But it's 1:30 across, your guys' area here. So as far as that goes, the yellow, this was as of 11 o'clock a.m. your guys' time, of where those tropical storm force winds were estimated to be. Now, at this point, I will definitely say that, all of the Big Island is likely in those tropical storm force conditions here overall. So that is that. And of course, our little hurricane-forced winds that we are seeing here across the red there too is probably, definitely a little bit closer here to the southern tip of Hawaii. So hopefully they'll give a new update here relatively soon. I think they do updates every 6 hours. And given that it's now 1:30 for you, they did it at 11, so they're probably still going to be a little bit. They might do it every 3 hours since the storm's getting closer and closer. I think that every 3 hours they do it whenever there's an imminent event going on here. So. Anyways, just posted another video. Sounds good, friend. Sounds good. And like I said, guys, if you do want to share to our, to our Twitter here, we do have, like we had talked about here, our Twitter, which is at NWW116_WX is how you guys can do that here. So, anyways, but yeah, let me go ahead and pull up this video for you, friend. So here is a new video coming in from Pizza in the chat here, which Pizza has given me the permission to share this. It looks like, there's already some flooding starting to occur. All right, let's go ahead and head on over here, y'all, into the video here. So this is coming in from Pizza in the chat. Definitely is flooding pretty good, as you can see. Looks like it's really coming down. And Pizza said that this is in Fern Forest area here too. So that's pretty good. That's a pretty good amount of rain there. Holy cow. I mean, I'd say that's several inches, obviously, and I'm sure some of that water that you're seeing here is, but a pause it there. It looks like there's a slope here, too, in which I'm sure that a lot of that water is actually running down the slope right now, and probably going down, and wherever it's going, down the island here. So, that's already pretty crazy. That is already pretty darn crazy there. Anyways. But I do want to say thank you, Pizza, for sharing the video here. But yeah, it's definitely flooding pretty good. Looks like the rainfall out there is, really coming down. You can see up there, it's coming down pretty darn good as far as that is. And I just want to say once again, thank you for sharing. And if you guys would like to share to to our videos here, go ahead and tag us on Twitter here. I'll go ahead and show you guys our Twitter account here. If you do want to go ahead and go ahead and tag us in a video here, or any photos or anything like that. You can find us NWW116_WX here on X. If you do want to go ahead and follow us and go ahead and tag us there, you guys can do that here right now. But anyways, let's see. Yes, it's a small stream. Gotcha. Yeah, it's definitely kicking up here. Let's see. Carrot says, "How long will it rain?" It's going to rain for a while. Yeah, they still have quite a bit of rainfall. If you look at the current radar now, we'll go ahead and play this in motion. If we look at kind of where we are now, they still have a lot of rain to go. Because if you think about it, they're still not even really quite halfway through it, considering that the center of the eye hasn't really passed it yet. They still have all of this rain to go through. All of that is going to go there. So. I have a random question. Does landfall weaken rainfall rates? It depends on the storm. What really tends to weaken rainfall rates is dry air, which is what comes which kind of gets sucked into the storm if there's dry air nearby. Now, of course, having a storm weaken can allow it to maybe have some of the rainfall rates drop a little bit, but even during those weakening storms, I mean, there still is a lot of moisture associated with the system, in which it doesn't completely kill out the precipitation at all. In fact, it still is raining pretty heavily even when these systems do weaken. In this case, no, not really, because we are seeing that warm air ramping off the mountain and shooting up into the cooler environment above. So, in some cases, yes. In some cases, not necessarily. But, anyways. All right, I tell you what, y'all, we're going to hop back here. We're going to go back to the satellite imagery here. Let's go ahead and switch on over there now. Let's do goes west mesoflow. Actually, let's just do goes west full disk this time. Let's just go ahead and load up the full picture here. This is the infrared view. So you can see, this is what it looks like right now. From up in space here, we do have definitely some pretty heavy convection going on with that system. Let's see here. Hopefully we don't see another river and a bridge get completely overran by water again. Yeah, I hope not. But it is certainly possible. I mean, just given the fact that we do have, just so much rain, falling out of this system here. I mean, it's just, it's unfortunate, but it's definitely quite possible here. Here, let's head back over to the Mesofloater 2. I do want to pull up the geocolor. So that way we can look up a little bit closer at this here. These arrows are a little bit iffy, as you can see. They're pointing in the other direction. They're going in the right way, but I might need to report that to the developers here, which might have to do here. All right, let's head back over here. Do I have the right one? Please tell me I have the right satellite. Sometimes I keep pulling up Mesofloater 2 for goes east. Oh, there we go. Okay, I think we're good. So yeah, this was as of earlier today. What is this? The last 12 hours is pulling up here. Okay, so we're still kind of loading that data here. But yeah, this was as of earlier today, just before the sun came up here and all. And let's see, it is loading. Which, yeah, it was tracking its way here to the east. You can see this at this point here. This is where the sun's starting to kind of come up here. There it is. Yeah, there it loads. Okay, yeah, you can really see now where we stand. I mean, yeah, that center of the storm is very, still pretty darn covered. I mean, there is no obvious eye. There was a little bit of clearing a little bit earlier, as you could have seen. But yeah, where we stand now, there's really no clearing within that storm. But like I said, just because if it has an eye does not have an eye does not mean it's not a hurricane. So I mean, it is definitely still a hurricane. Don't get me wrong. It is still a Cat 1. We are sustaining 75 right there towards that core there. But yeah, it's definitely getting a lot closer here to that southern side of the Big Island. So like I'd mentioned, you guys, please stay safe out there. I am going to overlay the radar on top of this here too. The radar is how we can really kind of determine where that core is. Now, I don't think we have any hurricane hunters going out in the storm. I'll double check real quickly. Let's head back over here to that. Let's go ahead and load up our recon here. Check on Lala. It doesn't look like we have any because, yeah, we had the hurricane hunters, the Air Force hurricane hunters. They did a mission. They flew in it. They took off out of western parts of the Big Island here. I think that was yesterday. And then, of course, they went through, or early this morning, I should say. They went through, did a few passes in it, and then they ended up going back over to California. So the hurricane hunters the Air Force hurricane hunters are gone. As far as the NOAA hurricane hunters go, I think they're still positioned in western Hawaii. They might end up flying into the storm again. I would assume they might want to check it out once it gets on the other side of the Big Island. We'll just have to see what they do. I mean, I'm not 100% sure on that, but anyways, but yeah, there's no active missions right now, unfortunately, from what we currently do see here. Let's see here. We'll do flight level winds, maybe. Let's change that. Yeah, from... I guess we'll do that. Yeah, flight level winds. Apparently it's not one to low, but yeah, this was a little bit ago, so we really haven't had any recent data come through here from the hurricane hunters, unfortunately. We do have Mesonet stations, though, which we're going to keep an eye out there for. The ASOS stations out here. We have one up in Hilo, like we talked about a little bit ago. So far, the max winds out there that's been observed, I think it's think what was it, like 33 miles per hour. I think we'll look here in a second once it loads. But yeah, let's go ahead and get rid of the hurricane hunters. We're not going to need them up. Yeah, because we don't have any missions, unfortunately. I mean, the storm is already like, right there. So let's go ahead and get rid of the hurricane hunters here. So, all right, let's hop on back over here. Yeah, there we go. So there's our stations here that have been loaded. Did it just load up again? Okay, it did. There we go. Yeah, so max winds that we've seen here, 43, not 33. Yeah, we've seen 43 mile per hour wind gusts have been maximum reported here in Hilo, up in the eastern, kind of northeastern part of the Big Island overall. Let's see. Carrot says, I wish we could have radars that could look at the peaks to see how the rain moves around the volcano. Yeah. I mean, what I probably could do is I could raise the elevation in which we're scanning, although I don't think Aguacero does that. I could be wrong. Actually, no, I am wrong. Okay, let's do 19.5 degree inclination. See, that's scanning really high up. No, that's too far. Let's do 14 degree inclination here. We'll see what that does. Let's see, 14 degree, maybe 12.5. There we go. Yeah. The problem with Hawaii is it's just like so mountainous for radars that they just don't like it. Yeah, this is probably where we're scanning. Well, maybe not. I was gonna say there was probably hitting the mountain there. Let's try maybe 4 degree inclination. Yeah, you can see even at 4 degrees, and you can see that big chunk of data we're missing out of here. See, it's like there's a big V here. There's a big mountain there that's blocking it. Yeah, that's the thing about Hawaii is you guys have always had that problem with radars that it's just the terrain makes it so difficult to have full radar coverage. You know what I'm saying? But anyways, at least that we have this. I tell you what though, once the center of the storm does pass and it does go over in this area here, we're gonna lose PHWA's radar. PHKM we should have. Yeah, at that point we should have the PHKM radar, so that'll be good. At least we'll have that radar, but we're going to lose our super close radar, the PHWA, because we have this one right up on that storm there. So, let's see what it says. Look at Hurricane Lane that impacted Hawaii in 2018. It did a similar northeast slow turn. 58 inches fell in the Big Island. Wow, that's crazy. What's up, Ree? Good to see you, friend. Saying, let's see, feels like we're getting normal rain and no wind. It seems like it'll change. Which part of Hawaii are you in? Are you in the Big Island or the other islands? Because, yeah, we really haven't started feeling much of the crazy stuff yet for the remainder of the chain of islands here. Right now, the biggest effects are, of course, in the Big Island of Hawaii. That's where the biggest effects. Now, once the storm does creep its way further northwestward, eventually you're going to really start to feel it. Now, it does look like, actually, we've had some reports out there in Maui. It looks like we've seen max gusts up to 52 already. So, I mean, we've already seen a pretty solid amount of gusts out there. Yeah, sustaining 29 right now, gusting 37. So, I mean, it's definitely picking up out there. Yeah. The western side here, or just west of that too, we have 36 gusting right now, 30 sustained, max gusts up to 55. So yeah, I mean, it looks like out there in Maui, we're already gusting, and near Maui, we're already gusting upwards of 40, 50 miles per hour. So, let's see. Reese says western Big Island on the slopes. Oh, I got you. So you're in the western Big Island. So yeah, you guys really aren't feeling it quite yet because that big mountain is blocking it. So what is happening here is, here, let me go ahead and pull up your area here. So I'll go ahead and show you kind of what we're looking at. Actually, you're kind of, you said you're somewhere over here, right? So you're somewhere on the western side of the Big Island. Anyways, but what is happening here, and the reason you're not really feeling a lot of that right now is because, I mean, we have a big mountain here, right? So we have a lot of really strong winds that's coming in here from the east, but that's not hitting you because it's ramping off the mountain. And because of that, it's actually forcing a lot of that warm air that's on the surface into the cooler environment above, and that's causing rapid rates of condensation, of condensing to occur, which is causing a lot of really heavy rain for the eastern side. And that's actually cutting off the winds from you. Now, I mean, not completely 100% cutting off the winds, but making it to where you are not really going to feel it. However, the problem is, though, friend, is once this storm, because once it comes around the corner, because right now it's just kind of chilling out of your sight. But once this thing comes around the corner, it's going to hit pretty hard. And once we get to the point where that system is, like say like right in here, we're at that point we're going to have a lot of those strong winds pushing towards you. In a way on this side, because since it spins counterclockwise. You see what I'm saying? So basically, in simple terms, the big mountain is blocking those winds for you right now. But it'll really start to pick up, though, in a little bit. Absolutely. So please stay safe out there, friend. And, I mean, from the way that it looks, I mean, you guys are already definitely starting to see some of that rainfall and all. I mean, yeah, we could definitely already see that there's a pretty good amount of rain falling out in some of those areas, too. But yeah, no, the eastern and southern side right now are really getting slammed here. And yeah, if we do go back over here to the southern tip of the Big Island here, we're actually starting to get some of those middle kind of inner bands. Like right here, this is the inner band here. This is where the strongest winds are. And in fact, we could actually assume that in these areas here, kind of in these areas here, this is kind of where we are estimating. So it's relatively calm in the center as far as winds go, but we can already assume that these areas are probably where we have those 75, maybe plus sustained winds currently. It's going to be on the outer edges of that storm. Let's see here. Okay, that's what I thought, but I wasn't for sure if it would change. Yeah, no, that's exactly what's going on. So it's still on the other side of the island here. It's going to take a little bit of time, but once it does get over there, then yeah, you'll really start to feel it, friend. So please be careful out there. And like I said, if you guys haven't already, I mean, obviously the time to prepare for this system is pretty much ran out. So I really hope that you guys are prepared for the system. But yeah, I mean, if you guys don't already, I mean, if you have things that you can do inside the house, like get your medicines and stuff like that together. Go ahead and get your first aid kits. Just make a little pile of important stuff and just have it all together. Like we talked about first aid kits, have it out just in case. That's like we had talked about as well. Medicines. Just make sure that you guys are just. Whoa, I didn't mean to do that. Just make sure that you guys are ready to go. And what I really recommend is if you have like important documents, put them in a waterproof bag too, especially for the the eastern side of the Big Island here. Like I said, just to be safe. It's really those coastal areas that I'm really concerned about. I mean, a lot of the part of the Big Island here is seeing a lot of crazy rain and of course heavy winds and stuff like that too, but all that rain's going to be leading up to those coastal areas here. Not to mention, like we talked about, mudslides being a problem. Just a simple amount, or just the overwhelming amount of rain that we're seeing here with this system is really loosening up that soil, and because it is doing that. That's really generating a big concern for mudslides and stuff like that, because especially on those steep hills and all, because that's a really big concern here. All right, I tell you what, friends, we're going to hop on over here back to the Hurricane Center for 1 second. I do want to bring back up our WPC forecast as far as our current rain projections go. So this is overall for the system here. And this is still the latest forecast here from the WPC, the Weather Prediction Center. So we do have isolated amounts here up to 25 inches of rain across the eastern side of the Big Island here. I mean, that's over 2 foot of rain potential there. We are seeing 16 to 20 inches across the dark red, for the red 12 to 16, orange 8 to 12, which also includes, once again, eastern Maui here in that 8 to 12 inch margin here. We could see some local higher amounts being possible. So then we go into the dark yellow. This is where we have 6 to 8 inches here. And of course the yellow 4 to 6, which includes a lot of the other portions of the remainder of the islands here for the most part, and that yellow 4 to 6 margin. They do mention isolated up to 8 inches here too. Across a lot of the other islands. This does include, like, Honolulu. You guys are included in that here. Dark green, 2 to 4 inches of rain, and then, of course, the light green here is 1 to 2, according to the WPC. Now, surges, as far as they go, the Big Island has 1 to 3 foot of storm surge, so that water level, once again, 1 to 3 foot above normal. And the remainder of the islands, 1 to 2 foot of storm surge here is expected here out of this. So, yeah, a lot of those coastal areas could see some of that flooding there, in which, that is something that we just got to really really look out there for too. I mean, yeah, thankfully for this event, the surging's more mild than comparing to other events we've covered in the past, but still, it is definitely a pretty big concern here overall. Now, as far as the arrival of the winds here, I mean, obviously at this point we're already seeing those tropical storm force here. We're really going to start to feel those tropical storm force winds here for some of the western sides here. I mean, honestly, within, let's see, this is showing here for basically late tomorrow morning, or early tomorrow morning, sorry, is when we're going to really start to feel those tropical storm conditions for like the western side of the islands, which, like I said, at this point now, we're already feeling it for, a lot of people here. And which, yeah, you can see right here, here's actually the probability of those tropical storm force winds. The big island, once again, 90 to 100%. I mean, honestly, at this point, we're already seeing those reports come through out there by the island of Maui. They're kind of in the 50 to 60% chance probability of tropical storm force winds. 1 minute average of 39 mile per hour sustained winds or greater is what we're considering that. So, but yeah, we're already gusting upwards in the tropical storm force here. I mean, like we talked about Hilo, we've already gusted 43 out there by Maui. Sorry, for northern Maui. 52 we've already picked up. West of Maui, this is do you guys know the island name? This one here, the island west of Maui. We have a tiny island over here, and we have this island. It's out there by. Oh geez, I'm not good with names here. I'm so sorry. I'm terrible with names. You guys can see this island here, and a lot of you locals here to Hawaii could probably tell me. So here's Maui. What's this island here? Because this one we have reports here of 55 mile per hour winds. Max sustained winds that we've seen so far. Let's see here. I've already been 42 that was for a minute. So that was, that was a little bit ago. So yeah, 42 mile per hour winds there, in which we did gust up to 55 at max here. So, I mean, even out there, we're already gusting it well in the tropical storm force. 48 on this island here. Then we go out there towards Honolulu. Out here at Honolulu, we've already reported 43 mile per hour winds out there. We have a lot of stations out here, thankfully. 35, 33, 33. Yeah. So we're definitely getting up into tropical storm force or near out there too. 37 we've already reported on some of the western islands, what the winds have peaked up to. Max up to 20 on this one here. So yeah, it's starting. It's definitely starting. I mean, for, like I said, the western parts of the islands here, I mean, we're still very, very far away, from this storm itself, but we're already starting to feel some of those impacts here. Let's see. There's so many steep, grassy, loose areas. I just can't imagine a ton of mudslides. I live there in Hilo. Oh, yeah. Or you live there in Hilo. Gotcha. Yeah, I mean, that is one of the biggest concerns, like we talked about here, is, just the sheer volume of water we're talking about. I mean, it's just terrible. I mean, because it's just really, really piling up here and, really softening up the ground and stuff like that. But anyways, yeah, like I said, y'all just please be careful out there. Like I said, I have y'all in my prayers, and like I said, if y'all have any questions, do not hesitate to ask. Once again, I'm more than happy to help you guys here. So let's head on over to the models real quickly. I do want to pull up the ensembles real fast, that we can kind of take a look and see what we're doing with the latest guidance here. Let's go to the latest 12 Zulu runs. What we have here. Matt says, see, the island is Lanai? Is that how you say it? Sorry, I'm not good at pronunciation. If you guys could, how do you pronounce that? If you guys could dumb it down for me, maybe. I'd suck at pronunciation. I'm sorry, but yeah, yeah. You can see here's the main spaghetti models, and I mean, at this point, it honestly looks like that. I mean, this is actually a little bit. Oh, why is it showing? Hold on a minute. This is severely outdated. I don't know why this is showing that. I mean, I have Lala here. This is 8/15. Yeah, I really don't know why it's doing that. Oh, I said it right. Is it? It's Lanai? Okay. I'll try to remember that. But anyways, but yeah, the storm's really more than likely just going to go straight under. I don't think we're going to have that direct landfall here. If I do overlay our radar here on top of this, um, yeah, you can see that it is going just barely skimming by. Oh, hold on a minute. Okay. So what I'm starting to notice here, I don't know if you guys can see this. It looks like it's starting to turn a little bit to the north, which is not good. Let's go ahead and get rid of the ensembles here. If you look closely, if you look in the last few scans, you see how it looks like it's kind of pushing maybe slightly northward? I mean, if you look real quickly at these, at the northern parts of the edge of basically the core, right out there in the core, on the quote unquote eye wall, even though there's no eye in it yet, but where the eye wall would be, to me, it looks like it is shifting slightly northward, which means that those edges are going to be pretty close. I mean, it's going to be close regardless. It's going to be very, very close. Um, yeah, we'll keep an eye on it. We'll just see what happens. Yeah, like I mentioned, that would probably bring some stronger gusts for some of those southern areas out there, especially out by like Ocean View, which I'm sure you guys right now are probably already getting hit pretty hard. Let me hop the velocity on the radar real quickly so we can get some estimates of how strong these velocities are. Oh wow. Yeah, according to the radar here, it seems like we're seeing maybe 60 to 70 mile per hour winds. Now, this is about 400 feet up, too. This is not very far from that radar. Seeing 60 to 70 mile per hour winds. Yeah, those winds are definitely picking up quite a bit here. See, it looks like maybe the lower part of South Point might get a touch of the eye. Maybe. Yeah, I mean, like right there on that southern point there. I mean, it's kind of hard to say. Like it's kind of wobbling a bit, It just depends on if it just continues that northerly movement a little bit. I mean, right now it's mainly moving northwest here, like we talked about. But if you look closely, if I play it fast, I mean, you can kind of make it out here that I mean, it's still mainly moving northwest, but it seems like in the last few scans, it looks like it's pushing up north. Yeah, like right in there. I don't know. I mean, we'll definitely watch it. I mean, we'll keep you guys updated with it. But I mean, like I said, regardless of what it does, then yeah, that's that. Check the ocean view wind velocity. Unfortunately, I can't, Pizza, because the radar is cut off. Unfortunately, this area really doesn't have good radar coverage. I mean, we do have 6,000 feet that we can look at, but this is irrelevant to the surface there. Yeah, see, the radar is not even showing that much of strong winds. A lot of that's because it's like right between inbound and outbound velocity, so it's kind of in a little dead spot there, unfortunately. Yeah, PHWA is right up on that area. I mean, we have this region that shows 94 to 100, but I'm not buying that. I think that could just be, I don't know. Yeah, that's just a bunch of noise, as I figured it was. Yeah, we can't go off of that. That's just all noise here. Let's see here. WeatherRat says, I think it's going to go more north than the model's official show interaction with the topography. I mean, we'll see what happens. I mean, like I mentioned once again, though, either way, whatever it does, I mean, either or, it's still going to be very impactful. Let's see here. When can us on the west side of the Big Island expected to wrap around? So, I mean, where we stand now, we're still a little bit a ways away is what I meant to say, not away. Let me pull up the models here. I wish we had an HRRR Hawaii. I don't think we do. Yeah, I wish we had like a really. I'm trying to think here. I mean, I guess our best option. Our best option is just to pull up the hurricane models. Let's do that real quickly. Actually, let's go ahead and do that. Let's pull up the HAFSA model. We'll pull up Lala here. We'll pull up the model precipitation. Nope, not precipitable water. Whoops, wrong product. Composite reflectivity. There we go. There we go. Yeah, so this model ran at 18 Zulu, so a little bit behind. So this is in my time. So this is kind of where we stand right now. It shows probably some of the worst of it being here right around 8 p.m. your guys' time. But you'll probably really start to feel it around 5 p.m. your guys' time. Because it's 2 o'clock for you guys right now. And yeah, you guys you'll really start to feel this. I mean, this is showing 11 p.m. Eastern, which is approximately 3 hours from now. And you guys are 6 hours behind me. So right now it's 2 o'clock p.m. for you guys. And yeah, right now where we stand at 8 o'clock, this is where we are kind of now, as you can see. But anyways. Let's see here. There's the NAM H. Oh, is there? Let's see, NAM. Is it on? I don't know if it's on Aguacero, though. That's the question. USA. We have HRRR Alaska, but we don't have HRRR Hawaii. Come on. we have NAM Alaska too. Canadian models. Yeah. We have so many models, but I don't think we have hardly any for Hawaii, unfortunately. We just have to go off the main models here. Do I have time to dye my hair and shower? I mean, if you want to, yeah, go ahead and do it. Now would be the better time to do it than, of course, later on. So, yeah, go ahead. Jesse says, hey, Andrew. Good to see you, Jesse. Spent a lot of time in Hilo in the 18 months I lived in Hawaii, praying for the best. Absolutely. Absolutely, yeah. Hilo's definitely getting hit pretty darn hard with this one, especially with a lot of rain like we had talked about. I mean, you guys are really going to be feeling the rain out there. Like, if we bring back up our map here, this is the latest from the WPC, the Weather Prediction Center here. We are seeing, like, up to 25 inches of rain here. I'm taking off the headphones for now. But, yeah, up to 25 inches of rain we see here for the eastern side of the Big Island. So we have, for the dark red, once again, 16 to 20 inches. For the red, 12 to 16 inches here. For the orange, we're talking 8 to 12. For the the dark yellow, 6 to 8. The yellow, 4 to 6. Dark green, 2 to 4. Light green, 1 to 2. So for a lot of the main islands, we are definitely talking, I mean, a pretty good amount of rainfall here. We are seeing those yellow areas, once again, 4 to 6 inches. We are seeing isolated amounts here up to 8 inches, though, which is still definitely a pretty big flooding concern there. Let's see here. Pizza says prayers go out to Ocean View, knowing the construction there is going to be windy soon. Oh, it's already hitting them pretty hard, I'm sure. I mean, Ocean View is definitely going to be one of the most impacted areas here. I mean, as far as the winds go and all. I mean, even with rain, the Ocean View area is kind of in that, or Eastern Ocean View is kind of, well, hold on, let me pull this up here real quickly. Yeah, so I wish I could pull up the WPC risk on here. Let me check and see if I can, actually. We'll go to NOAA here. We'll go to WPC. Excessive rainfall, day 1 maybe. I don't know if they do Hawaii per se. No, I don't think they do. Maybe outlooks. That's river flooding. SPC, WPC. Yeah, I don't think they do excessive rain maybe. No. CPC. Yeah, no. I wish they did. I really, really wish they did, but they don't, unfortunately. But yeah. But a lot of the Ocean View area, we're really going to be seeing a good, 8 to 12 inches, locally higher amounts definitely being possible out there. I don't think Hilo saw even close to that in hurricane. Oh, gotcha. Let's see. HRRR for Hawaii 18 shows it making landfall at the 21 Zulu isn't fully developed. Gotcha. So it does have it making direct landfall? I wish... See, I don't know if, Tropical Tidbits has it or not. I mean, let me try Tropical Tidbits here. We'll go to Analysis, we'll do forecast models, hurricane, maybe more mesoscale. I don't think we do, yeah. That's unfortunate. Yeah, I wish I did have a way to pull up the NAM HI model. Let's see here. But yeah, like I said, we'll just keep an eye on it anyways. We'll just monitor it in real time. We've already been live here almost 3 hours already. Golly, dude. Ugh. Here in a little bit, I might take a break. I'm not sure, but for now, I'm gonna keep going. I just might need a minute to stretch here for a second, because sitting in the chair for a while like this is definitely quite a bit. Here, I might stand up for a moment, guys, if y'all don't mind. Just do a quick stretch. Oh man! All right. Man, my bones popped on that one. Anyways, the mountain runoff from the rain makes it exceptionally worse. Yeah, absolutely. Here, let's hop back over here. Go back to the rainfall. Yeah, I mean, like I said, with the up to 25 inches, we're seeing here out of the system overall. I mean, we are seeing a lot of that water running down into the running down into those lower elevations and all. Which, I mean, that right there is a really big problem. Not to mention, I mean, 25 inches even on a flat plane is a big problem, yet alone it coming directly down there. So Saunders says hurricane, what was it? Oh, really? Wow. Yeah, that's... What year did that happen in? Here, let me look it up, actually. I'm curious. I am curious to see... looks like in 92. Yeah, it looks like it hit y'all pretty darn hard out there. Oh, wow. It hit the western island here. Yeah, looking back at it. There you go. September 5th through the 13th in 19... You know what's crazy? That's the same year as Hurricane Andrew. That hit Florida. But yeah, that went right over the western islands there. Golly. See, the highest, the Ocean View subdivision goes up to 4,886 feet above sea level. Yeah. Here, let's pull back up our estimated total precipitation right now. This is from radar. Remember, this is estimates, by the way, guys. Yeah, I mean, it looks like we're about 10, maybe 11 inches or so out there, kind of by Volcano and Fern Forest. Lots of destruction back then. Yeah. Oh, I can definitely imagine. It looks like it was a pretty bad one. Here was the satellite imagery from that storm here. This was 3 p.m. HST 9. What was that? 9/11/92. Yeah, like I said, that's the same year that Andrew happened. So yeah, Highway 11, it's 1,996 feet above sea level. Oh, gotcha. Yeah, sometimes it's good to look back on it. You said that was a Cat 4. I mean, this storm's a Cat 1. But like I said, just because it's a Cat 1 does not mean that there's, no impacts with the system at all. Because, I mean, we're still definitely seeing some heavy impacts here with this system. Given the fact that... Here, let's get rid of this photo now. Just given the fact here that, we have all this rain coming in here. See, it's not shocking it's the same year, though. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Ocean View is mostly unpermitted construction because it's on the south rift zone. Volcano levels. Oh, yeah. So they have a big volcanic problem there, too, I bet. Yeah. Golly. All right. I'll tell you what, friends. Let's head back over here. I'm going to pull back up the future radar. This is from the HWRF model here. Are we back on live? I think we lost connection there for a minute. I think we're good. I don't know what the heck happened. Are we back live? Are we good to go? Let's see here. 10K per lot on Ocean View. Oh, wow. It's crazy. Goodness. But anyways, yeah, as far as the the timing and all that stuff goes with the system, we're going to really start to feel it on the western sides here about 2 a.m. Eastern time. This would be 8 p.m. your guys' time here. So, all right, y'all. Let's head on back over here, you guys. We're going to go back to the radar for just a moment here. So let's go ahead and switch on over here. I tell you what, we're going to hop on over here. Did it completely cut off my stream? We're live. Okay, good. I was going to say, I don't know why I did that. It decided it wanted to cut off on me for some reason here. But yeah, so we are seeing the system, getting closer and closer and closer to the southern tip of Hawaii here. I think what I might do here is I might take a little bit of a break, guys. I think I'm probably just going to take maybe 5 to 10 minutes just to relax for a little bit. I will be active in the chat, though. So we can still type in the chat and all that stuff. But yeah, I think I am going to take a little bit of a break so I can just decompress for a moment. I'll tell you what I'm going to do here. I am going to hop you guys back over to this. So yeah, I'll see you guys here in about 10 minutes or so. Here, I'll even make the screen a little bit bigger for you guys so you can see that maybe a bit better. Let me hold on. I need to edit this real quickly. I apologize. Got to make it look good for you all, that we all can see what's going on there. Here, let's make this maybe a little bit bigger. There we go. Oh, I might need to cut off some of this part too. But yeah, definitely gonna do that real quick. Let's take a little bit of a break here, guys. Alrighty, friends. Well, I will be right back. You guys stay tuned. I will put up a text here too saying be back. We'll be back here I'll be back at 8:20 my time, so that will be 2:20 your guys' time. So let me go ahead and put a little bit of a text here saying I'll be right back. So yeah, don't go anywhere. Y'all come back here in just a little bit. BRB at we'll do 2:20 p.m. HST. All right, friends. I'm going to take a little bit of a break. You guys stay safe out there. I will be right back, and we'll see y'all here in a moment. Alrighty, friends, we are back here. Sorry about that. We were just about 50 seconds late or so. But so we were picking back up with the coverage where we were. Just had to take a little bit of a break here. Started getting a little bit dizzy here. I wanted to take just a moment to take a break for a little bit because streaming for a long period of time is definitely not easy. It's very, very difficult. But anyways, here's the current sat view with the system. As you can see, it's definitely quite a beast of a storm here. We're really starting to see that, that the worst of it really approached that southern portion here of the big island here overall. So we're definitely starting to feel some of the heavy effects with the system. It looks like, let's see here. It looks like there might be maybe a little bit of clearing going on here. Let me actually pull up our radar view too. We're going to load up our reflectivity here. Actually, you know what? Yeah, there we go. So yeah, there's the reflectivity here. You see, so the center of the storm's right here. It looks like there might be just a little bit of clearing going on there. Honestly, so it's picking up a little bit. Let's see. You're starting to get some gusts here. Oh, are you? Gotcha. Well, stay safe out there, friend. Stay safe. I'll tell you what, we're going to hop back over here to, let's see here, back to the, or actually, we're going to get rid of this here. Let's go back to the Hurricane Center for a moment. I do want to go ahead and bring that up here. I think I closed the NHC page. Let's go and pull this back up here. So we'll see what the latest we got here from the Hurricane Center. So they have it still, yep, so as of 2 p.m. HST, this was a relatively new update here. Storm's still moving northwest at 8 miles an hour. Central pressure down to 988 millibars and sustained winds of 75 miles per hour. Lala continues northwestward as it interacts with the Big Island terrain. Damaging winds will persist across portions of the Big Island into tonight, spread westward across smaller islands through Sunday. So, like I said, what I'm probably going to end up doing, guys, is I'm probably going to head off here relatively soon, and I am probably going to pick this up in a future coverage later tonight. I'm just going to head off for a little bit. I'll probably come back on, I'm going to say maybe right around 1 or 2 in the morning Eastern time, something like that. So, I mean, I'll be covering the system while it's, like, on this side over here. So I'll do some more coverage for you guys at that point. But yeah, like I said, it's just really starting to get to me being live for, over 3 hours at this point. I just can't do it like I used to. I don't know why. It is just really difficult to do, like to talk and be consistent and all. So I think I'm probably going to call it a stream here soon. But like I said, I was planning on doing this anyways yesterday. But at the end of the live stream, I talked about how I was probably going to do 2 separate lives. So this will give me a little bit of time to head off, get a proper meal and stuff like that too. That's probably why I'm a little bit lightheaded and all. It's because I really haven't ate anything today. So I think I'm probably going to head off here in a minute, get me something to eat. Maybe that'll help relax for just a couple of hours and then hop back on here at some point. So be sure, if you guys haven't already, consider subscribing and turning on those notifications. That way you'll get notified when I do go live. And, like I mentioned, we'll be here to keep you guys up to date here later on. Like I said, I really apologize. I can't stream straight through. I'm feeling it. Definitely feeling it. Let's see here. Get some rest, Brett. I will, friend. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. But thank you all for joining. I think I'm going to head off for now. But if there's any questions you guys have real quickly that you want to ask before I roll off here, let me know. I would definitely be more than happy to help you guys and all. But let's see. Come on, I stream a volcano sometimes for 24 hours at a time. Are you constantly